Hello, everybody. Welcome back to MIRRORMOURN. I'm your Dungeon Master, Esper, and we are kind of finishing up a small dungeon, and then we're going to be going into some other things that these guys, I think they're going to kind of take over the helm for a little bit, and we'll see what their characters are interested in doing and developing and such. So this will be a combo. I perceive it's going to be a combination of different things this session. Why don't you all introduce your characters quickly, and then we'll jump in.
Hello, I'm Warsor, and I play Wally Coast, the level 2 Paragon of the Trickster.
I am Vince, and I play Vapor, the level 2 Sorcerer Wild Magic Genasi.
Hello, I'm Nick. I play the level 2 Rogue, and it's just a Rogue right now.
And I'm Adam, and I play Aygir, who is also level 2. He'll be level 3 very soon, but he is a Hobgoblin Artificer, if you want to be all technical.
Yes, yeah. He's got quite the tiff going on. Or perhaps I think actually Adriel was the one who was a bit more tiffed at this location, decrying the goddess Hragata Blixa as clearly some sort of false idol. But then, things happened there in the pool of water, and it got strange.
I'm gonna come back when I'm level 20, and it's gonna be bad.
So just to very, very quickly recap, or just kind of set the scene, you all are on the way back to Barnacle. You left the coastal cave. You'd helped those smugglers secure their landing there, and they brought in some crates of you don't know what, and they gave you some payment. You exchanged some information, and you're heading back on this like long curve, trying to stay away from those coastal goblins, heading back to the city of Barnacle, which we all know. And along the way, you spotted this old shrine building up in the hilly, semi-forested terrain there, right? And there were some temple guardians. You met with, serendipitously, a goblin priest who tends to this shrine, and there was some tense interaction, particularly Adriel was of a mind to slay this goblin. But he spoke with you all. There was a religious ceremony, and he jumped into the water, and he seemed to think that this was some spiritual test that he'd been put to, an ordeal that had been thrust upon him. And who knows what happened to him. He went into the water. There was some shape slinking under the surface of the water. Apparently, Hragata Blixa is a Kongar goddess. A Kongar is like this big, ugly eel type thing that's hairy and can even slither on land a little bit. The resident archaeologist, Igear, using the advice and the guidance, or rather, I might say the help of this goblin priest, uncovered a secret door to a treasure chamber, and you all uncovered a bit of treasure. And I think the party's pretty much of a mind to exit and continue the return back to Barnacle.
Well,
we have to split the treasure first.
They sure are, and that includes Aygir and me as a player. But Aygir as a character, there is that one path we have not gone down, and there is an itch, an urge, a twitch, and a tinge of an inkling of an idea in him, of a mind to just maybe poke his head down there.
Remind me, there was like some scrolls. Was it a spell scroll that we found or something? Or was it?
Yes, we found.
You got a brick.
I did find a brick. I remember that. I don't care about it.
And I found a green gemstone.
The scrolls in question were a scroll of fog cloud and a scroll of protection from good and evil. There was also some coinage amounting to 22 gold, and there was just a plain silver ring with a goblin face on it.
Not magical?
No. Or, well,
not in my knowledge.
It didn't detect magic when we cast it.
Okay.
Well, one of the problems was the where they were stored, they were protected from that. And
Correct.
but when they popped off, the only thing Vapor detect was coming from one of them, not the other, and that was the scrolls, I believe.
Correct, because they most certainly are magical. They're spell scrolls.
Okay. I'll take one of the scrolls. I guess fog cloud sounds good, and that'll be my.
All right. And as you're doing that, Igear is not to hijack things and act completely unilaterally out of character, but in character, he is wandering off to just look down that other hallway. Because he truly doesn't know what's good for him. And, whenever there's a place like this, he can't leave. He can't make himself leave without just searching for that one last additional secret.
And this was the last we heard of Aygir.
I was about to say, if you die, then we won't have to deal with that. But
exactly,
see how it goes.
That of course is that pathway.
It seemed that this third temple guardian, these goblin-headed statues, had come from this guardian chamber down here, and it had called forth a giant wasp summon. But you had dealt with them all pretty well. I think there was a couple scary moments, but for the most part, you dealt with the temple guardians.
Well, with that in mind, Igear will sort of glue himself to a wall and just sneakily creep along that way, so as hopefully not to arouse the attention of anything down that way.
Okay, so Igear is taking a look down this way. What about the other three of you?
Vapor will go with Igear just to make sure he doesn't get in trouble again.
Adriel will wait outside.
Outside the shrine?
Yeah, outside the shrine. He'll probably hide. Oh no! Oh, sorry. No, not like no. I mean like out. My bad. Outside the I spoke too soon. Outside like the where they're going. If that makes sense.
You want to hide in the corner.
Exactly. Yeah, I want to hide in the corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
So
go into the
if
shadowy
something
corner.
comes out, yeah.
You go into the shadowy corner and proceed to hide yourself.
Put my hood on.
I'll just be ready to go because I expect they're going to find an empty room where that thing came from. So
That seems probably most likely out of character, yeah.
Yep.
But
Okay.
you never know.
Igear, you go slinking along.
And stopping if anything seems like it's a threat, and trying to be as sneaky and as unseen as possible, walking slowly, shifting his full weight off of a foot before he lifts it up, so as to not drag it, all that.
Fine and well. You take a look, and indeed you do find what everyone had suspected, a guardian chamber. Don't see anything, nothing apparent at least.
What does it look like? Are there any distinctive marks on the walls? I assume there's some dragging scuffle marks on the floor.
It is an octagonal room. It is rather Spartan, so there's not really furnishings or effects much of note. There are, indeed, wear and scuff marks on the floor. This is an old place, and in fact, this central chamber is maybe the oldest chamber, and it got added on or rebuilt. Some kind of goblin architecture, about as fine as they can manage. Nothing real apparent, though.
That's interesting. Well, I mean, given that it's apparently the oldest room in here, and that it seems to be built entirely by goblins, I don't know if the rest was too, or if it had elven help or some.
The ritual chamber here, you think is the oldest chamber. What you're in now, you would call a shrine guardian chamber.
I see. Well, nevertheless, he is a glutton for secrets and hidden stuff. So he will, take some actual time, to possibly the chagrin of his companions, to just search and inspect every inch as thoroughly as he can, provided there's no trouble or resistance.
You have 10 minutes and then we're leaving.
He will stay there.
Okay.
Yeah, Adriel
did not summon a giant wasp. It summoned some kind of flying eel thing.
It was
Yeah.
a flying eel. Yeah.
Adriel will also respond and say, "We are going to leave you here, Igear. Please hurry up."
Igear, you have advantage on your check once again due to the aid rendered by Melkar, I believe was his name.
Excellent. Igear, from where he's standing, cannot hear Robin, so he doesn't react to that.
Neckmore.
I'm never
Adriel,
going to use my
not Robin.
serendipitous encounter again.
All right, so investigation check with advantage. Okay. That I can't.
Vapor should be up there with Igear.
Okay.
Ooh, that's gonna come out to be a 19.
Just like you guys like fall into a pit, and Adriel, Walykos just leave.
Well, it sounds like they found what they were looking for. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, 14 plus 3.
Make sure that we get the
In the
resolute.
Shrine Guardian Chamber, along the walls, there are these old motifs. They have not been upkept so well, and they were never very well fashioned to begin with. But motifs and pictographs on the walls carved in by goblin craftsmen depicting their great warriors and temple guardians smiting and felling and repelling those who might vandalize or molest this temple. Clearly, you have superseded the expectations of the goblins and their forspoken guardians of the shrine, as you have done quite the plundering. Your investigation turns up some very faint indications that someone had walked over to here on many an occasion, and in fact there's a very fine seam or groove in the wall, and yet another stone like the eyeball of a pictograph eel that looks like it can be depressed. It looks like the same mechanism you had used up here for this secret door.
You will very cautiously press that stone in and see what happens, standing well back of it when he does so.
Okay, so you stand back and push it in with what's your weapon?
His finger.
Oh,
In this
okay.
case, he'll walk up to it, push it, and then recoil to
So
avoid
you
any
do
consequences.
that sort of thing with your flinch reflex about ready to go off, and a basic stony hidden door slots into a groove in the floor, revealing yet another hidden chamber.
Well, my friends, see? Look, I'm not crazy. Not this time, anyway.
You
You're
see
very
three
good
more
at finding
stony
things.
goblin head jars.
I see what, sir?
You see three more of those stone goblin head jars, those pots that you had previously encountered in the other.
These are
before
in
you
that
start
room?
going in, perhaps I should detect magic again so we don't stumble across any other glyphs.
Yes. Thank you for asking, Captain Obvious. I accept your offer. Go ahead, do it.
So Vapor will cast detect magic one more time because I think by now the spell has worn off.
All right. So you cast another detect magic spell, and you scrutinize through arcane perception, though you do not detect any magic.
All right, it's all clear.
Until the random loot treasure is rolled. And then line the pots would prevent
Clearly, there was a thin lining of lead within these stone
Exactly.
pots. I mean, it's either that or take all magic things off of the random treasure tables, and who the hell wants that?
You could have it be like all the pots with random tables. They have there's like an actual spell that prevents detect magic from detecting magic.
No, I like it.
Lead. It's
I like it that way. It's some kind of like weird, lead or
Void
magnetic
magic.
infused like stoneware made by goblins that acts as a lodestone and is actually generating some magnetic field that doesn't.
No. I mean, there's actually like a spell that does that.
We could roll the treasure table rolls before, like right now when you cast detect magic, before you've opened them and you know what's in there. So
Nah,
only-
that's less fun.
Yeah.
That's less
I
fun.
like the
It is less fun, but
yeah.
I think it's
less.
I
less
think going
easy-
forward, it won't let them detect like stuff in containers. Outside of containers, I think it should be.
Whatever.
yeah, it's
Well,
less easy to explain, but
I-
it,
I
right
agree.
now,
Yeah,
at least
I think.
you,
I
at least
think
you feel certain that there's no magic traps like on the
Yeah.
pot that's going
Right.
to explode when you open them up
all right. So these are what are in that room, or they're in like the entrance to it.
in the room. Yeah.
Okay. He will go in and, treading very carefully, recover one of them.
Right. You tread as carefully as can be, and you pull out one of the goblin head pots.
Hand it off to Vapor, and then go back for the other two.
Vapor is going to move it to the center of the room, just so that way we don't have another
Right.
cloud of smoke.
Now,
Alright,
do these
take the three goblin head pots out.
all seem identical?
They look more or less identical.
All right, then it's time for the tap test, which worked last time.
Yeah, so once again, it's going to tap each pot and listening for the sound to come back.
The pots sound identical. They have a slightly hollowish thud sound.
Okay, that's a little disconcerting because that was the trap.
Well,
Would you like someone to look it over before opening it, perhaps?
look it over. How? What would you do?
Someone that's more skilled at seeing whether or not it might be trapped.
You can see through it? Is what you are telling me?
No, there's signs that they leave if it's trapped. They put little things on it. Never mind.
Honestly,
You know this much about goblins.
honestly,
Who are you?
Walykos, I think that he should just open it and
Yeah.
whatever happens, happens.
I get 1/3 of it anyway, so what do I care?
Well, you should know that you've already gotten your end of the deal.
This is additional treasure that we found in this place.
You have
Which
already
increases-
claimed
It
You've already
increases the
claimed
third.
what you said.
Don't make me come over there. I will.
There is no over here. We're going outside with these. If these are going
Yes,
to explode,
I-
we're doing it where
I'm
it's well
stating
ventilated.
that because the proportional amount of treasure increased that we found in here, my third proportionally increased to match it. So I will get 1/3 of this.
I do agree with Walykos.
Igear is with two pots.
And
in
you will
hand,
get
walking
proportionally
towards the thing.
2/3 of whatever is in there as well. So
Igear has started walking with the two pots in hand.
that's fine. I am
Whatever
following
you
you.
want to tell yourself, you'll get something if it's worth it. And
Well, I know I will.
How many pots were in
Yeah.
that room? In the new room?
3.
Okay, Vapor will pick up the last one.
Okay. So you exit out the entryway of the shrine, the 3 goblin pots with you, and dreams of lucrative finds, treasures, and grand relics from this shrine, Kerblixa. Do you pop open the lids?
So, if everybody else will let him, Igear will do it, but he will very carefully, one at a time, using a knife to pry it open and keeping his face well away from it.
Adriel will make sure to be like step away from it
Yeah.
as well, a pretty good distance, just in case.
Just in case it's more gas traps. Just the first one.
Okay.
Vapor's just going to hold his breath
Okay.
because he can do
open
that.
the
He
lid
can hold his breath
and,
indefinitely.
It unseals and roll a D percentile.
All right. 32.
Okay, that is the amount of damage the trap deals. No, I'm joking.
It was nice knowing you right here.
Well, okay, so
Dude.
he's gonna do all 3, provided there's
Okay.
no trap. So should I just
You-
go ahead and roll again
you
twice?
need to roll a D4, and
Ooh.
that's the amount of things.
All right.
quantity.
There are 2 of them.
2.
Whatever they
Okay,
are.
you find 2 statuettes of goblin, very reminiscent of these shrine guardians, these stylized goblin things that are like holding these eel creatures. They're little statuettes carven from bone. They're well carven. for goblin, in goblin terms, you would say they're pretty well masterwork. They're also historical relics. You would appraise them having a value of 25 gold pieces each.
Interesting. Wait, let's write down 25 each. Okay. And then he will open the second one.
All right. Again, you both open the lid, unseal it.
84.
Okay. Well, I guess this was a very large goblin head pot.
Oh my gosh.
The largest one of the whole shrine, for contained within are two battle effects, goblin-sized, right? Small-sized things. One would be a kind of chain mail, and the other being a battle axe.
Or is there
So,
any ash in the
Goblin
pot?
chain mail and goblin battle axe.
Esper,
Come again?
in that urn type thing, is there any ash or powder at the bottom of it?
No, there is no poison powder or anything at all. In fact, they don't exactly seem to be urns, but more pots or jars.
Yeah, well, no, I was just trying to think if like maybe it was someone it was kind of a berry ritual and they
Right.
stuck them in there.
Okay. No, it does not seem that this shrine has any burial
Right.
purposes.
These might have been more just like offerings or.
It is the
oh,
home
actually,
of the
yeah.
goddess, Haragata Blixa.
yeah.
Which you just rated, by the way. These belong in a museum. Indiana Jones.
I play with a guy who made a character called Dr. Indy.
So he will set those two down and say to Vapor, "You, maybe these pots were warded like the others. Tell me, are those magic or not?" And while he's doing that, he will open the third one.
Is Vapor detecting any magic on these?
No, the bone statuettes and the chainmail and the battle axe do not come up with any magic aura.
So Vapor just shakes his head because he's holding his breath.
The suit of armor has a helmet that comes with it that's stylized like those goblin, horned goblin shrine guardians.
Nice.
For those that are into that style, of course. And the third pot, you're going to need to roll the D100 2 times.
First one is a 98. And the second one is a 96. No, sorry, 95. 98, 95.
Excellent roll.
Nice roll.
So for the 98, you actually find one more first level spell scroll. Roll a D12, that will determine what spell it is.
All right. 12.
It is a spell scroll of sleep.
Ooh, fun.
Yes, very fun. And the other item, you see a small, think of it like a gourd, a small gourd, and they've shaved it down to where it doesn't look very strong. Like you could smash it easily against a surface or even against a person. And inside there's some kind of liquid, and they've got like this, like a plug, some kind of cork or wooden plug stuck in it, and there's even a little tassel, so you could like unplug it if you wanted. Well, you are an artificer, or artificer, if we're being very proper. You've seen this kind of concoction before. It is clearly alchemist fire.
Ah. Well, look at that. Something that would burn pretty bad. Oh, and another scroll of magic. I imagine, Walykos, you might be interested.
I'll take that.
It's a scroll of sleeping, if it ever helps.
It is.
It'll fetch a price on the market.
Yeah, or Vapor could use it.
It'll fetch a price on the market.
Oh, Paragons. Wait, can only certain classes use scrolls?
Yes.
Yeah,
we have-
you can
on your class
Yeah, you can only use the scroll if there's a.
Unless you have a class feature that some rogues might have that let them
Thief,
activate it.
yeah.
Evil.
I think arcane tricksters can like use.
Yeah,
wizard
arcane
scroll.
tricksters can do
That's-
it.
Arcane Trickster could use the ones on
Wizard
the
spell list.
wizard's list, and then the
But-
thief could use any, I believe.
But
I think-
generally speaking, spell scrolls are rather limited to the caster classes.
Right, I see.
Yeah.
That's how they handled the use magic device skill.
So, in any case, I'll take the sleep scroll, I'll take the fog cloud scroll, and let's see. There
That
was.
sounds like a third to me.
I'm just double checking. There
I
was
mean,
one other
unless
scroll.
you wanted like a goblin battle axe or something. I don't know.
I'm thinking like one of the goblin statues, like one of the two. That seems like a third.
I want some stuff too, please.
Yeah.
Adriel is the
You did not come in.
You
Anything
were not part of the deal, Adriel.
You were not part of the deal, neither was I, so I shall not be getting any either.
But you can make your own appeals to them, but I don't see any
anything,
reason why they have to honor it.
anything that Wally Coast decides to give you out of his own goodwill is yours.
I
Elsewise,
saw Adriel one of the statues.
Wally Coast will give you half a scroll. There you go.
I'll grab one of the statues and.
And now we have to cast it holding them together.
You've got your side upside down. Flip it over. I can't tell. It's all gibberish to me. Okay, so Adriel, you take possession of one of the bone statuettes. It's maybe about 6 inches long. A menacing looking thing. Wow, you wouldn't want to look at that too long before you go to bed.
How much was it worth? Do we know?
25 gold.
Igear appraised it at 25 gold
25,
piece
yeah.
value to a collector, an archivist, maybe even
Seems good.
let's see, who was Christophe Dinevere, perhaps, or other collector, antiquarian. Does that wrap it up? Do you all feel you are satisfied? Particularly
I'm
Igear, you can never
super
leave without a
done with this.
second check.
yeah. This place doesn't seem like it has anything else that would benefit us, at least right now.
Are you sure, Igear? Do you not want to check every single nook and
I'm
cranny
collapsing the
entire
entrance.
Well, tell me, Adriel, would you like to check every single nook and cranny of my ass? Then I say we get moving.
And I thought I was the grumpy ass one here. Let's go.
I think we've all been in these woods too long. We need to get back to civilization.
See, this one gets it. Yes.
Very well. You now continue with the return back to Barnacle. You're taking a long route with the idea being to skirt around goblin territory. Now, you're going to be in goblin territory to some extent for quite a ways, but at least you're trying to stay away from the more centralized where the
I mean, we're going
where their town is
we're
at.
going through the wilderness where they're not
Yeah.
going to be walking willy-nilly. They'd have
So
to
you
send
go-
scouting parties.
Very well. So you all go bushwhacking it with the hopes that that keeps you away from their band that's out for blood. And about more or less one day of bushwhacking and roughing it in the wilds of this coastal region, you return back to Barnacle. You're approaching through a guarded gate on the southern side of the city. The guardsmen that are at the gate, they also saw you all leaving, so they're not completely estranged. They recognize your party. You see them there with their basic elven helms and light chain and their bows and swords and whatnot. So you've returned, it would seem. None of you missing any body parts? I trust you had a lucrative adventure. Hey, what's the name of your outfit anyway? Yeah, what do you call yourselves?
I don't think we have a name, and unlikely as if we stick together, we'll come up with one then.
Indeed, what he said.
Be careful. If you don't give yourself a name, he's like to give you one. You might not fancy it so much.
Oh, then we'll just call ourselves the Zero Fucks. Because we don't give one if he cares or not.
Gosh.
Damn.
Rather filthy mouth on you, don't you? Hey, where are you from anyway? You got a weird way of speaking.
I'm out from the west.
Bloody Westerners. Hey, don't bring your barbaric ways into here. This is a proper city.
Vapor just gives, like, his one eye just gives this flat look. Like, do I care?
Well,
Come, Adriel. We have business to conclude.
I've checked my register, and it doesn't seem that you all have paid the proper toll to be admitting back in. What, laden with these valuables and weapons and armor that you are? Yeah.
And what would that toll be?
Yeah.
Is it the same as last time?
They are saying that you each must pay a sum of 2 gold pieces, and they'll
Total?
make it per person.
So
And they're gonna make a brief record of what all you bear: valuables, armor, and weapons. And don't go trying to find any workarounds. We count magic wands and wizard staffs as weapons too. Yeah, they're right dangerous. They are.
I will.
The
I'll
purpose of this record is
This is. Do you see this seal here? And he like briefly flashes some piece of parchment that looks very worn and lots of writing on it, and there's a waxen seal on it bearing the mark of House Drakestone.
okay, and these guys
This is
therefore are
the Duke's
legitimate.
very own seal here. This sort of information is what's to be known of he and his counselors.
Now, do these guys look legitimate? Do they look like they actually are the ones? Because I've gone in
they
and out of
look
the city, paid this toll.
Gatekeepers.
Okay.
Well, I mean, not the gatekeeper, but they do look like
But
gate guardsmen, city
they're
guardsmen.
not imposters who are trying to scam people out of their money.
Make an insight check.
Okay.
I know Source Flay personally. I would not recommend you giving us a hard time getting back into the city, or I will make sure that he knows both of your names for his records.
That's a 12 for insight.
Igear, they seem legitimate to you, and you did see them manning their post when you left the city, and they've
Okay.
probably
Can
said something. And then Wally Coast.
can I try to
and-
persuade them? Yeah, or intimidate them in some way?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Let's see. We're going to do that. I'm going to use my Hand of Fate just because. 19 plus 4 is 23.
Hey, and the 2 guardsmen flash a look to each other. Well, why didn't you say so from the get-go? Since you are clearly in his good graces, you are deserving of a bit of a discount.
I flick him a gold piece as a don't worry about it.
That will do. So they make some quick scratches, quick notations of what all they can
Yeah,
observe
what they
on
can
you.
see. Yeah, they don't need a man.
Adriel will also flick him a gold piece and say, "I'm with him."
Very well. Congratulations on your successful endeavor. We'll be seeing you around.
Very
Yes.
good. I just kind of do my shuffle walk past, pretending once again now to be slow and kind of hunchbacked.
Right.
Once we
wearing your mask as well.
Oh
I
yeah,
believe?
absolutely. The mask. Yeah.
Once Walykos and I get past the guards a little bit, I'll actually stop and I'll look back and say, "They're with us too."
I
we
mean, they might
figured
have already paid.
as much. It'd be just a gold piece each. Good masters.
Oh,
Hey,
the
by the
ambiguous-
jingle of your side, looks like you can spare more than one. Come on, I've got hungry
Vapor will
children.
pay the full amount of 2 gold. He's not gonna try to name drop.
Oh, right, generous one you are. You have me thanks.
Vapor just shrugs and heads on in.
Igear pays the 1. No reason to pay the 2 if we've gotten the discount.
Okay, so you have returned back to Barnacle. You have successfully completed this adventure. I will grant you all a milestone for the adventure's completion.
Ding, ding.
I need 2.5 more, and I'll be level 3.
Sweet.
I just need a long rest.
Clearly, Adriel, we need to go off on our own little adventure and bypass them.
Okay,
I just need a
so
long rest myself. Yeah.
Walykos, there's some kind of light beaming from you. Is something wrong?
there's a twinkle in your eye. Okay,
I'm just
so,
like as Walykos walks through the gates, just like a beam of light shines on him.
I'm gonna shift things here, and we'll go into more of a fluid, abstract time.
I like it.
So, let's determine the best way how we want to do here, because I do want to give you all some breathing room for your own personal.
Could you call it
interests.
downtime, perhaps?
Downtime? Yes. So why don't we do that first? And you all, it's up to you. You could do just a little something. You could do more if there's something that's really interesting, and we'll just kind of go with the flow. We can. I think a good way to start is just to briefly recap where you all live and what your connection is with Barnacle. So, Adriel and Walykos are from Barnacle. You were initially born here, and you actually were childhood friends when you were little kids. And then Walykos was gone for a while. And Adriel, you were actually born into a noble house, House Mantevale. And let's see, there's a kind of an important person who's the more or less the head.
Yeah, I know that my mother
Duncan Mantevale. Yeah, Duncan Mantevale. He's the Lord of the Storm Tower and the Master of Rituals. That's not necessarily magic rituals. Rituals more in a traditions and societal sense.
Gotcha.
But there might be something magical involved with it. You don't live in the Storm Tower, but you are of House Mantevale. You live like in a different building that's actually this old Giant's Hall. Your mother is kind of a black sheep of the family. She's a lady, but it's not the most ladylike. Florina Mantevale. She's the youngest daughter of Duncan Mantevale. So you live there. You're actually a human, right? You're a human, and your father is a Ginteljar, the old dwarven guardsman. So he's like the house guard, and you were begotten of an affair between your mother and him. And your mother, well, she's a case of her own. Walykos was gone for some time, and he was just a childhood friend of yours. So maybe you didn't think about him for years, and then some time ago, maybe a couple years ago or so, he returned, or at least someone returned that resembles him, but you only knew him when he was little, and he's kind of a warped thing, and he's got
Twisted,
horns and some bestial. He has an affliction, you know that. And you reconnected, and you brought him into your house, and you all dwell in this upper room that's near like the bird aviary roost, and that's your front, right? Is your bird selling business.
Mm-hmm.
You do other odd jobs, we'll say, discreetly.
Yes, indeed.
And then Igear and Vapor, you all had traveled here from the Westerlands, which is specifically is a northwestern region called the Cloud Steppe. And you came here for your own reasons, and you've been in Barnacle for some time, and you dwell in Klingstead, in one of these like giant barnacle shell things that's next to these like platforms and walkways and lifts, because this Klingstead is a poor district. It's precarious. It's as much vertical as it is horizontal. And what kind of professions do you see yourselves having? Does Aygir's archaeologist profession lend him to odd jobs that helps him pay for his lifestyle? Does Vapor have
Vapor works as an alchemist, pretty much. He's making potions and turning out churning them out. He's probably got a small little shop that he works at.
Igear is artificially inclined. So he operates a workshop. He's a smith. You know, he makes the things that smiths normally make. Nails, Xena shoes, things like fittings and clasps for door hinges, and little like mouthpieces for hoses on great water pipes for the smoking dens. Common stuff.
Repair work, maybe doing some work with arms and armor.
Yes, and
quite a bit of work with arms and armor.
Well, probably not for most of the people, since, you know, if they're wealthy enough to afford fancy arms and armor, they're probably getting them from some like hoity-toity, pinky extended elven establishment. But he definitely has been on the side all this time, working on various pieces and fittings for a made-to-measure bespoke suit of armor, based on the measurements of himself. For what purpose, it's not so clear immediately, but you know, maybe someday that'll see some interesting use. Maybe even someday soon.
One thing we could do is now talk about the level up and what's happening with the level up. What are you gaining? What are you doing specifically that, you know, could tie the mechanics in with the storyline?
Well, he's hit 3rd level, so he is gaining his, and I hate this name, Artificer Specialist, as opposed to Specialty. Watsy, if you're watching this, grammar and syntax, they are somewhat important still. So he's becoming an armorer as opposed to just a general artificer. So now he is actually going to be working on and completing that suit of armor. It's a special suit of armor that's his like sort of core subclass feature. It has some perks it gives him. There are actually 2 models he can choose from. One is more sort of sneaky and ranged focused, and the other one is more like wading into melee, absorbing hits, and hitting back. Given the composition of our party so far, I think he's probably going for that one. What's it called? The
Juggernaut suit.
It's something a little bit like that. It is the
Bulwark.
Guardian arcane armor as opposed to the Infiltrator.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's try to imagine where you're working on the armor. I think there's a couple different ways it could go, and we've talked about this real briefly.
Right.
What are you inclined towards?
Well, I mean, if it seems like it would be safe, he might actually try and go down to that giant forge that we discovered. I guess that he is now the only remaining party member. No, that's not true. Vapor knows.
Vapor knows. Wait, are you talking about the Giant's Forge?
Yeah.
With those creatures that we never cleared out?
I think we have.
No, we didn't. We had to run away.
Well, yeah, that's
we
true.
had to go find what's his face?
You specifically ran away because they killed half the party.
Right.
Half the party got wiped by those things.
Right. The question was, did we clear out enough that they're not in that area anymore?
There were still
2
eggs.
adult ones, 1 baby that got out of the egg, and several eggs we didn't get to pop yet. So there's at least 3.
Yeah.
3. There was a young one that we didn't kill, I believe.
So then, he's going to go to the Broken Tower. He's going to talk to Kana Spindle about the whole thing and find out if there is a, particular, because like his home forge is not really set up for large scale armor making. It really is more of a utility forge for making nails and door hinges and
It's
and
probably a
things
real
like you order.
small thing.
Yeah, it's what he needs for the stuff people actually order from him. They aren't coming to him ordering like, oh yes, make me the great sword that shall be my family heirloom for centuries. He'd love to make that, but you know, it's not where the money is right now. So yeah, he'll go to Con Spindle. He will ask around and see if he knows of a good forge that would be something he could like rent the use of for the day or week.
Okay, you go to the Broken Tower, and as its name would indicate, it's this massive tower built by giants long ago and got partially ruined and damaged during the siege of Eaberg, which later was renamed City of Barnacle and the island of Haven Isle. And he never repaired it, and he dwells reclusively up there, and his legs are kind of crippled, and he wears these leg brace things, and he's very, very fond of smoking. If you intend to make usage of what remains of this giant workshop, then you must take it upon yourself to finish your work down there and slay the Balai, for such creatures cannot be let loose to again stalk and prey upon the folk here, for they surely will multiply, and that would be a catastrophe that I could never forgive myself for.
Well, yes,
Until you're ready for that moment, you may make usage of my workshop here. You may find its arrangement is a bit peculiar, but once you see the method to my madness, you will find it is well suited for the forging of great things.
I am sure that I shall, Mr. Spindle, or Connis. You seem to know a great deal about a great many things. I think the whole world could stand to learn a thing or two from you.
I've never been good at writing down journals or books even, and I'm not one for speaking publicly. So if you have an option that would suit my proclivities, I would consider it. Though for now, my tasks are a new companion after dear Duncan met his demise. And indeed, you see he is in the process of crafting a new homunculus.
Well, by way of thanks, I shall bring along something a little bit extra in the Grove Sheen department next time.
My stores are holding out well, but I would never turn down an opportunity to enhance my stock.
You know I know how to get the good stuff.
That you do, and no, is it good? Stay for a time, my boy. Have a smoke. I'll show you about the workshop, and maybe you'll learn a thing or two about the old ways of Drakestone forging.
Well, I'll admit I'm not terribly familiar with it. I know the way they do things on the step, and I know that's good for me, but, well, you know me, I am never one to shy away from learning another particularly interesting thing or discovering another hidden secret.
So he clops then over this like gaunt, tall elven fellow who's more than a century old and shows you to a different wing of the tower. It's a different floor, really, is what it is. And he's got his workshop in there, which includes a forge and tables and workbenches and a number of different tools and containers and shelves. And it's fairly messy. It's not an absolute disaster zone, but it's very cluttered. And just, when you first see it, it bewilders you or overwhelms you. And he begins showing you some of the things that he's working on, projects that he's working on. and he's definitely got a very old-fashioned way of creating things, and it's very slow and very meticulous. Some say that this is an antiquated way of producing the wares, but this comes from a different age when people cared about the artistry of every detail put into their work.
Out on the steppe, I have seen a smith before fold and twist metal into such a pattern that you could see the faces, he said, of his ancestors in the wavy striations of the blade.
I would like to see that.
If you ask me, the old ways have not died, at least not out there.
I've few and far between visited the Cloud Steppe and found the ways of the people there not suitable to my tastes, but do not take that as a dismissal. You are welcome here in my tower.
Well, perhaps you have a thing or two to learn too, as well.
I'm not very good at learning new things in my old age, I will admit.
An old Argon will learn as many tricks as his lizard brain will permit.
Yes, well, the first pebble peck gets the worm, but the second rat gets the cheese.
Sounds like you're hungry. Well,
It will be time for eating soon enough. Yes, let me show you this here. And he begins to show you some kind of old elven tool that you've never seen before and has something to do with shaping different metals. So you have access to it, to his forge. You'll have to abide by, his hours and whatnot. But I think it should serve for your purpose. It would be kind of a slow process due to the setup being this old-fashioned elven style that you're not practiced with.
right. Well, I mean, it takes time, especially when the customer or mannequin, so to speak, is yourself. He's got to fit things, he's got to shape them, harden them, do all the things necessary, work in some fine details, and because it's for him, there's going to be a lot of fine details. This is not nails. It's something he can actually really spend time on, and he also has a couple of little things he's acquired now over the course of a couple of adventures. He has some boiled and hardened crab chitin for like little fittings and small detail plates. He's got a couple of little baubles, a golden statuette he's been carrying for a while, a silver goblin-headed ring, that bone statuette. He's got to figure out how to work in somehow, make it look all nice, make it feel all nice, and make it do its job.
And all these things are going together into this arcane suit of armor that you are putting together.
Yeah, it's being predominantly built out of those ingots of whatever kind of alloy of hardenable giant made metal they found down.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know if it's particularly a named thing. I hadn't actually even gotten into that. Maybe we can name it. For now, we'll suffice to call giant steel. It's some kind of alloy thing. It's a high quality substance that you can work with to make this arcane suit of armor. Maybe there's even these, kind of latent alchemical properties to it. And you're working on this suit of armor for a time. Kind of Spindle makes mention here and there of the news he's heard, the news that his servants have brought to him about the goings on in the city. A lot of people are basically holding their breath, hoping and praying and waiting for when the Night Stalker might strike again and claim his seventh victim. The killer is still unknown. Everyone has their different speculations as to who is the Night Stalker or what the motive is. and a lot of this becomes political, and there's mounting and rising political tensions.
There's actually one
any day now. The Duke calls to justice, summoning the Sea Queen, for there are many suspicions that she is involved. Oh, the Merocrats all likely are behind this, Night Stalker.
There's actually one last out of character thing. I actually realized and was reminded. So the Unearthed Arcana version of the Armorer, I don't know that it mentions this, but the Tasha's Calder Everything one definitely does. I actually don't have to just pick my armor model for my arcane armor. I pick what it is, but I can actually switch it at the start of or end of a long rest if I have some smith's tools on me.
Or short
Yeah.
rest. It's a
Short rest. Okay.
It modifies. I've seen it in play during a one shot that I did, so I was aware of that. But it's good that everyone else.
I think the UA version might not have had that, or at least it wasn't really clear. And I was
the player that was using it out of UA in that one shot. That's how he was running it.
Nice.
Okay, so
well, that's cool.
That's versatility, which is nice.
It is. All right, so you were saying kind of Spindle is talking about the Merocrats being all up in arms.
Yeah, everyone has like coming up with their own theories and suspicions about the Night Stalker, this killer who's been on the loose and claiming lives. He even was able to strike dead a knight of House Drakestone within Longkeep. That was his most high-profile target. But really, no one knows who the Night Stalker is. And a lot of House Drakestone, which Kana Spindle will be aligned with House Drakestone, they think the Merocrats are involved with it, and he thinks that it's just, one bad day away from the Duke declaring that the Sea Queen, that's her title. She's not really a queen. Her name is Porcelina Marine, and she is the one of the leading prominent members of the Merocrats. So I guess I should back up just a tick here. The political structure of Barnacle is complicated. It's referred to as a duarchy between House Drakestone and the Merocrats. It's a little more complicated than that, and one side may not recognize the other side as being equal, and they really don't recognize each other as equal. Particularly House Drakestone does not recognize the Merocrats as equal. They're like, you all were originally just the port administration that we had put in place, and you grew like a Frankenstein thing beyond what we had intended. And then you came up with your own ideas and political agendas and sort of fractionated out as your own faction or union. And the Merocrats largely control the sea trade. The port is Merocrat territory. And the Sea Palace, which isn't really a palace, they've got like this grand office, you might call it. And there's a whole district, like there's houses, people live there. That whole district is just Merocrat now. And then House Drakestone is like the original noble house that conquered this island and defeated the giants.
So House Drakestone is sort of like angry because they made another house that is also becoming powerful, just like they did.
Essentially, though, the thing with the Merocrats is they take a very different philosophy. They actually don't believe in noble houses, and they believe that all the people, even the poor people, should all like play some little role, and everyone is like part of the same governing body, even though there will still be positions of administration. Merocrat is always this trying to undo the old monarchical bloodline lineage type philosophy and go for this more rule by the masses, or maybe kind of a different.
Yeah, kind of like democracy. Yeah.
Not. I wouldn't call it democracy. It's not that everybody is going to have this right to elect representatives or senators or something. It's more like instead of lords and serfs, it's like the laborer class each make sure they get paid a certain amount of wage, and then the people who have shown to have merit of some favor, they get to hold positions by way of their whatever they do, who they know, who they blow, or maybe they have some talent.
Gotcha.
They get to some authority position.
Meritocracy.
Yeah, it's something that actually is still developing. They don't even have really a name for it, but they do have a big appeal to those that are either slaves or serfs or like a very low class. It's more of a collective philosophy as opposed to Drakestone, which is this is our birthright, and we have passed down these traditions since time immemorial. And our house won these lands, and we, through right of our conquest and our great deeds, hold the wealth and the power. And if you just follow us, like, at least you're going to be on the winning side, and you'll be able to have the pride in your heart that even though you're a freaking tunnel rat, or this like backbreaking laborer, at least like you're doing right for House Drakestone. And
at least we're making money. At least we're making money. At least you have our protection, right? Who'd want to be part of House Drakestone? Am I right? I mean,
so we can kind of let this all develop later on. Why don't we move to Vapor? Right, you are leveling up. Yep. Is that right?
Yes, Vapor's leveling up. So, because there's a couple different things. Vapor is an alchemist. He works with making potions. So, and he also wants to understand his magic better because it comes from his blood. So one of the things he is doing, I imagine, which would help him increase his knowledge in magic, which contribute to it, is doing experiments. And one of them is he's got another small vial of his blood now, and has it over a little like Bustin' Burner, and he's just watching it, seeing what happens. And because of the troll's blood, I'm betting it starts to boil very quickly.
It does, yeah. It reacts violently to the fire.
Yeah, so I can see him.
Boils at a lower heat. It evaporates much faster. It fizzes and pops and bubbles a lot. Even kind of like has these gloopy bubble things that come out of it.
Yeah, so he's doing experiments, trying to figure out what's going on with him still.
Acid has a similar effect.
Yeah, and so he's doing like different experiments with his blood, and I think that would lead to this breakthrough of this new knowledge of how he can use his magic.
Troll magic.
Well, not specifically troll magic, but like understanding that his blood now holds something else, so he's going to unlocks more of his arcane knowledge.
Trolls are wild, man.
Yeah.
They are chaotic.
So his wild magic grows.
Tell us about the developments of your magic.
So he now at level 3, a sorcerer is able to get meta magic. I've yet to pick which ones I'm getting, but I get 2, I believe. I'd have to double check. But for the spells, picks up several more spells, and I picked up one from Tasha's Cauldron for a cantrip at Mind Sliver for the cantrip. Then for level 1, Shield, and then the level 2 ones, Shatter and Dark Vision.
Shatter and Dark Vision.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I'm familiar with Shatter, explosion of essentially thunder that can also break objects. And Dark Vision's obvious, and Shield we all know, but Mind Sliver's a new one for me.
Yes, give me a second.
Like psychic damage.
Yes, it is technically psychic damage.
Maybe a wisdom or intelligence saving throw versus psychic damage.
It's an intelligence saving throw, or take 1d6 psychic damage and subtract 1d. I'm sorry for my dog is whining right next to me. I don't know what's going on with her. Subtract 1d4 from the next saving throw it makes before the end of your next turn.
Oh, okay. So it's a setup for your next spell next turn.
Yeah.
or a quicken spell. You can do quicken spells now, right?
Yes, I could pick Quicken, and I think I might do that because that'd be a really great
Yeah, if you
way to
mind
combat.
and they fail, then you quicken a full spell, and they've got a negative D4 on their save.
Also, did you say it was an intelligence saving throw?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Target must
That's,
see an intelligence saving throw or take
There-
1d6.
There are
Known
very
to be
few
best saving
cantrips that
throw.
do intelligence.
There are very few things that go after an intelligence save.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I picked it,
So
because I figured that'd be a good one to pick up.
it's very good for those brutes who dump their intelligence. Who would do
So
that?
out of your grumpy animosity troll
Induced rages at times.
you now are like imparting parts of your mental anguish and rancor into other people and weakening
Weakening them
this thing.
before calling
do
down
you
the
have-
thunder, literally.
Do you have anything else that you do during the downtime?
He would, because of those alchemic, what was it? Sorry. I got about 35 gold of alchemic ingredients still from our trip out there that he gathered. I'd like to make those into some healing potions.
Okay, you have 35 gold pieces worth.
Yeah.
You could spend 25 gold pieces of it and make a potion of healing.
Okay. Yeah,
Then
he'll do that.
left over and maybe use it along with some other reagents. Or you could probably buy 15 gold pieces worth of more alchemical reagents and make another 25 GP value worth to build another potion or brew another potion.
No, for right now he'll hold on to the rest because I have a couple other ideas that he's going to experiment with different stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So should we take a look now? We could do Walykos or Adriel, or Walykos and Adriel together, since you do live together.
I'm down with any of that. What do you think?
I had a few things that I kind of wanted to do, but I don't know if you had something that you particularly wanted to do, or you might be able to.
I'm down. What did you want to do? Tell me, and maybe it's something we can do as a team.
Mhm. Yeah. So I probably should not taken this bite while it was getting.
Maybe you're talking to each other over a meal.
Yeah. So Walykos, well, actually, before I say this, let me ask the DM something real fast. Is there like a thieves guild in Barnacle? Like, would I know about this, or what I need to roll? Like, I know that I've lived here for a while.
Okay, so I'll pose two things to you, and they're kind of different. One is the Crossroaders. Now, they're not exactly a thieves guild; they're more of a bandit group. So that's one that you are acquainted with.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. You know Lami Lamstock, he's their leader. And then the other one is we could figure that out right here and now, just improvise
Let's
it.
do it.
World build in front of the whole world, which is a fantastic thing to do.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Right. So what do you have in mind with well, here, I'm going to do a roll first. All right. I'm going to roll and just to get a general foundation of what may or may not exist. And then that will kind of like help you to take the next step forward. All right. You've done a number of different odd jobs before, Adriel, and I believe Walykos has joined you on some of them, especially recent ones. And in doing so, you have worked with some contacts, and there have been some comments and maybe even some conversations between you and these contacts of where are we going with this? Do we want to take things a step further, and instead of just being one-off jobs, that we actually start a business relationship?
Are you saying that this is more like? I'm sorry, never mind.
Mm-hmm. So this essentially would be you all could start one. You could found one.
Oh, our own things. Oh, you know what? This might be a way to potentially get Igear, Vapor, Walykos, and Adriel back in because they have the that place that the ruins with those creatures that could potentially be a base. So okay, cool. Did you tell Walykos and Adriel about that?
Well, I mean, in character, I can tell you he didn't tell Adriel for sure.
Yeah,
at least not yet, and probably not even Wally Coast yet.
I don't think we have.
He probably will. I think it's the plan to try and rope them into.
Yeah, that's kind of like, yeah, I think that'd be a cool way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Overgrowth sheet, yeah.
I guess then, okay, so if we wanted to found our own, okay, that's an idea. One thing I do kind of want to do as well, this is why I brought this up, like the Thieves Guild potentially, is that I kind of want to purchase a disguise kit if possible. Because I'm proficient in it, but I don't actually have one. And I don't think that a normal shop is going to carry something like that.
Okay, so
you've got contact.
To purchase this item, there's a couple ways you could do this. One is you could go somewhere that would sell like costumes and like an actor's
I see.
or a theater or something, and
Gotcha.
you could buy it through that route, and maybe even that's where Walykos got his Birdman costume from. So that's
that'll be a good tie-in. Yeah.
Another way is you could go to one of these contacts who are NPCs that I'm like randomly creating. We're not generating on the fly here. And
Nick likes to do that, Esper. He likes to make you create new NPCs. They're on the fly. I can vouch for that because he does that in every campaign I've seen him in.
All right, so I will. I guess
I'm here for. I am an NPC loving fool.
I guess
the other way you could go about this is one of these contacts of yours could actually sell you like it's a disguise kit, but it's made with the intention of like impersonation. Spy is like a spy kit.
Yeah.
Or maybe
all right. I guess then like what? Oh, did you want to say something? Sorry.
I just wanted to say, I think if that's all you're doing, you could do that alone. I have an idea for Wally Coast a little bit that you can be involved with. It's just, it wouldn't be directly going with you. Esper, I think Wally Coast is actually laid up in bed, kind of racked with like this sort of like twisting, like he's having a really bad week after he gets back. And that will be explained in more detail once Adriel gets back from his shop.
And I've also got a thing that's going to add along with what you're talking about there.
Yes, and I think it ties nicely this idea that I have into the other characters, and we'll bring it full circle.
Okay, so did you not want to come with me then? So you're sort of
like I would. Walykos would want to come with you, but then he suddenly becomes very sick. He's coughing, and he has to like stay in the tower, and he's kind of like you check on him,
okay.
And he's like curled into the corner in his bedroll.
Okay, okay, I'll do. All right, I'll do this then.
He'll ask you, do you have any medicine, Grosheen, anything for pain? I need something. It's bad, Adriel.
Do we have Grosheen here? Because this might be a good thing for me to go to Igear for. That would be interesting if we don't have any.
Well, you tell me. You might have just the common Barnacle Grosheen, not the good for.
Yeah. Let's do that. Like I'll look to so I'll go up to check on Walykos before I leave, and I see him like in the state. I say, oh, Walykos, I brought some of the stuff that we have, but we don't have any of the really stronger medication. I'll sort of like put it on your bedside, and like put a hand on you and say, I'll go speak with Aygir. He seems to have known something about getting.
When you place your hand on him, his whole body is almost like trembling. It's like when someone has like tremors, like they can't control it. They've got that. So he's almost like a convulsion, like it's like a fit that he's having, and he knocks the Grosheen, the bad side. He's like, "That's worthless. No, just leave me alone."
Yeah, Adriel, like seeing this. It's actually one of the few moments where Adriel is actually feeling some compassion. Like he actually does care about Walykos, and he sort of puts his hand away and he goes, I'll return as soon as I can with stronger Grosheen, Walykos. Please just bear with the pain for now.
I'll try. Just be quick.
And Adriel will walk out, and he'll actually, when he walks out, he'll go up to his father, who is what was the name? I had it written down. Ginteljar, yeah. He'll go up to Ginteljar and he'll say, "Father, I need you."
I was a lad. They'd always give me a shot of the strong water whenever we was ill and not feeling so well. It numbs the pain and soothes the hacking and coughing.
Yes, I'm sure, Father. He needs stronger Groshin, though. If you can, please just make sure that he's all right. Check on him a few times. I'll be back as soon as I can. I need to go speak with a contact.
I'll bring some spirits up to him.
I'll nod my head, yeah.
And he also congratulates you on your recent successful exploration.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, while Adriel's doing this, it gets worse for Wally Coast before it's going to get better. He's probably actually making, like, I don't know if he would be screaming per se, but, you know, like pained whimpering noise. Like when you're in actual pain, there's like, you make noises that you wouldn't think, you know. So he's going through that actual pain.
Yeah. All right. So with Adriel, originally he was going to go do his own shopping, but because of Walykos, I think he'll actually try and find Igear if he can. Like he'll try and see where Igear had went. I don't know if Igear probably didn't tell him where he was going, but he'll kind of like ask around, maybe with some of his contacts, try and find out where Igear went, since he's Adriel's contact for Groshin.
Okay. So again, we're in a sort of an abstract, fluid time. Igear, is it easy enough for Adriel to find you? Like maybe just at your house instead?
Well, I'd say that given that he's working on this armor, which I think if possible, even though I don't necessarily have the monetary amount on me for half plate as per the rules, I think he'll try and turn it into that. But anyway, as he's working on this, which takes him quite a while, I think he's probably more often than not at the Broken Tower in that workshop. He obviously didn't tell Adriel that, I don't think. But
Vapor?
Yeah, he probably told Vapor he's in the Broken Tower.
Vapor, would you
probably told
Adriel
Walykos also.
Tower? Okay.
Sorry.
I guess if I could find Vapor too,
okay.
like
as long as you like are made it available for Adriel to find you, I think it's fine.
Adriel probably could find Vapor eventually. Vapor is not really hiding his location.
Okay.
So you probably either find him at the shop that he's working at, or at his apartment.
All right. I guess I'll do the apartment. I guess I'll go to your door and sort of you'll hear a knock on your door.
You hear this mild muffling. Sounds more like cursing as Vapor gets up from what he was working on and opens the door. You can see his eyes are a little narrowed, and a little bit of smoke kind of billows out of the room of a purple in color. What?
Vapor, I'm sure that neither of us want to see each other, but I need to find Igear. Do you know where I can get to him?
Yeah, I have an idea where he's at. Have you tried his apartment yet?
Yes, he happened to not be there, unfortunately. I don't know where he's gone. He said something about having a contact for getting Groshin. I need it.
That contact is dead.
Yeah,
I don't know why he told you that.
Adriel sort of like looks up a little bit, like just kind of like frustrated, and say, "Well, perhaps he knows someone else. Do you know where I can find him? I really need to get there as soon as possible." And like you can see that Adriel is like, he's acting different than he usually does. Like he's much more like, he needs to do this now. He's like hasting. He's like, I've got to go. Like,
come on, I'll take you to the Broken Tower.
Thank you, Vapor, and I will follow Vapor.
Yeah, Vapor holds up one finger, goes in, grabs a couple things, pretty much his bag has got his stuff, comes back, locks the door, and then just starts leading Adriel, all the while muddling under his breath, cursing Igear for creating more problems for him. Because somehow he's blaming Igear for this. And he will take Adriel to the Broken Tower.
All right. Adriel will follow Vapor to the Broken Tower.
Okay. There at the Broken Tower, you are greeted by one of the servants of of the tower. You're greeted by
Oh yeah, it was the dwarf, right? Forgot his name.
there's a dwarf that he wears a half mask thing.
Well, you come back, Vapor, and you have brought a friend.
Yes, we're here to collect Igear. Or at least talk to him while he's working, if
He
possible.
and the master have been hard at work. It seems he's apprenticing to an old elvish style of forging. Have you come to assist him?
More as to pull him away for a bit. We need information from Igear.
Well, I know not to disturb the master when he's at work.
We wouldn't disturb the master. We'd just be disturbing Igear, who deserves to be disturbed.
We don't like disturbances around. Is it an urgent matter?
Adriel believes it is, and I don't know why. He hasn't told me, and I haven't pried.
It's very urgent, dwarf. I need to see Igear right away.
Very urgent. Well, if that's the case, I suppose we can make an exception for you. Come on inside. I'll show you to the lift.
Thank you.
And he opens the door the rest of the way, lets you in, shuts it, locks it up, takes you up some stairs onto a different landing. There's this like wooden lift thing with a pulley system. You get into the cage. And it like cranks and rattles as you go up this dim shaft up into a higher floor where the place has got, cobwebs and dust caking everything and old effects and furnishings and strange objects, and many of them laid over with cloths, like a storage room of a museum. And you make your way, and well, shit, there's no homunculus. Okay, we'll say he has finished his new homunculus by the and the dwarf hollers up,
Tell the master it's an urgent matter and beg his forgiveness for the disturbance.
the new homunculus looks like the mixture between a little clay kind of spindle and a bat. And it flutters along about the both of you as though, like how a dog is when it first meets someone, kind of sniffing you out and real excited and curious.
Adriel kind of like bats it away a little bit, like I don't have time for this.
Don't mess with it. We already had lost one of them to his master. I don't need to be contributed to a second one.
You bat away the bat, and the little mini Kincon spindle flits away, goes to the workshop, and does some kind of gesture that's like,
What is that?
someone dear to us has died. And Spindle comes, clomping out of the workshop. And Aygir's there, and they're covered in grime, and they've got leather aprons on.
Whoa, wait a second. Who said Igear came out of the workshop? Nobody said he came out of the
Aygir
workshop.
is not out of the workshop. That is only Spindle. You hear Aygir in there furiously banging away.
I imagine he probably doesn't quite, or he sees Spindle going over to do something, but he's doing something noisy, so he didn't actually hear what that was.
Oh, this is young Mantevale, Adrian.
Adriel, but yes,
Adriel.
Spindle
I
is
know
Igear.
your mother, Adriel. You look like her.
Yes, is Igear here?
Yes. Who has died? Just tell me. Don't let me linger in suffering.
No one has died. Your familiar passed along an incorrect message. We are in need of Igear and of great importance, according to Adriel, but no one has died.
No one has died, yes.
As far as I know of.
If we don't hurry, though, it may get worse. I need Igear now.
Very well.
he clops back to the workshop, the tall elf with metal bracketed leg braces. Aygir, hit me now! You have 2 visitors, Vapor, your comrade, and young nobleman of House Mantevale. They say that it is dire that they speak with you.
Aygir is dipping a piece of a spalder, that's a shoulder armor, into some acid to etch it and bring out the copper alloy design that he's put a detail onto it, and lifts it up with the acid dripping off and says, "Oh, and who is that?"
Adriel will walk in, I suppose, and say, Igear, you said that
Why are you here? Don't you have your own things to do? Quit bothering me. I'm busy. I'm working.
Wally Coast is in pain, and I need your help. He requires stronger Groshin than we have. I know that you don't like me very much, and I honestly don't very much like you. But please, he's my friend.
I don't know why that would be. I'm perfectly likable. I don't try to murder small children. He is in pain, you say?
Yes,
Did
you
he
have
hurt
access.
himself? Is he sick? Will he live? Is it survivable?
He should live, but he requires stronger Groshin, the kind that you said you had a way of getting. We do not have very much. He needs this to sort of calm his pain some. Please, I don't know who else to go to. There's not many people who have access to stronger Groshin.
Well, I want you to know this moment. For right now, as of now, you owe me one. What that is,
he owes us both one. Vapor says from outside the workshop he's not going in because of the heat.
What are you doing here? I thought this problem was with Walykos. Did he roll?
He couldn't find you, so he came to find me, which means I had to come to bring him to you. This is your fault. So he owes me one and owes you one.
This is your fault if it's anybody's fault.
How's this my fault? You're the one who said you had contact with
keeping us here jawjacking when we could be helping. Now, all right, fine. You, I trust, would not be here in such obvious distress if this was some prank or con or scheme of yours to try and defraud me somehow. So, very well. Now, have either of you been outside the city proper before?
Vapor just gives this like the one eye flat look. It's like
Yeah, Adriel's probably been out of the city before. Yeah.
I've
been out before.
Do either of you speak otras lenguas que no son lo de los elves? He says something that's not Spanish, but Sylvan, just to test you guys.
Adriel just kind of looks
Vapor.
strangely, and then he goes, "This is a waste of time. Can we just go to where you get the Groshin?"
Igear, you know I only speak Goblin because you learned it, and I only know the Elvish Common.
Well, now then, if it would not be too much of an imposition, I would say I shall go alone. I will come back with the Groshin. You can wait here or wait wherever I can find you. But it would be prudent that you did not accompany me on this, as, well, delicate way to say this. I don't want the kind of trouble that could be invited by bringing outsiders into the place where the Groshin is from.
I have gold. Is that all they want? I can pay for it. Why can I not come?
Well, you don't speak their language. You don't share their culture. Groshin to them is more than a painkiller. It's not a drug, not a medicament to be just bought and sold at the market or from some alchemist shop. It's a spiritual experience.
Adriel, when you mentioned all this stuff, he kind of scoffs at it a little bit.
If you stay here, talk to Connor Spindle. He'll tell you all about it, and I'll be back in the afternoon.
Can you? And like Adriel's just like
Take down
finding like
Connor's
this whole.
stash.
Yeah, Adriel just kind of finds the whole thing a little like stupid, like with like this being like all ritualistic, and so it's like, why can't I just buy it? And he goes, fine. Can you just come to my home, bring it there?
Is that next to the bird shop?
I don't actually know exactly where the home is, Esper. Where does Walykos and I live?
You live
Broken
close to the Storm Tower.
Storm Tower. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll describe sort of where
You're
where
basically
it's
like
at.
in the Storm Tower district. It's maybe a small district, just the tower and some other close buildings and houses.
I have a quick question. Does I probably should have asked this earlier, but I guess now that it's sort of we're getting into you doing the thing, does Adriel smell any like strong grove sheen in this area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
This
it is
whole
the broken
floor
tower?
just reeks of it.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
specifically this floor where Connor Spindle
Yeah.
hangs out.
Yeah. I guess like as we're finishing
Obviously, it's here.
yeah, I guess as we're finishing up our conversation, Adriel's like sort of like finally realizing, is that grove sheen in here? Can we not just take some back with us?
That is not mine to give, good sir. That is the property of Connor Spindle, the owner of this place.
Is kind
I
of
am his guest. I would not impose that way. Even for a friend, I am not sure his kindness can be just abused.
is Spindle next to us? Like, is he around?
Yeah, he is nearby, humming away as he's working on some object. He's
I
working
guess-
on the homunculus, trying to work the kinks out of it.
There
guess-
now, mercy, there now. It's for your own good. No, hold still. Hold still.
Adriel. Adriel will walk over to Connor Spindle and say,
Ah, almost cut the ear off of my homunculus. Don't creep up on me like that.
Lord Spindle, do you have grove sheen here, the stronger kind?
Only the finest.
Would you mind if I procured some from you? I can pay for it. But I need some as soon as possible. I dread
Well,
it happens.
How much are we speaking about?
I actually don't know. How much would Walykos need? That's a good question. I would know that. I just don't know out of character.
Yeah, like a gram or something. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll say like a gram or two. I'm willing to pay, and like I'll actually pull
Oh,
out.
that's all.
Yeah, and I'll like pull out some gold too and say I'm willing to pay. Please, I appreciate Igear, but I'd rather have it sooner than later. A day might be too late.
Well, if he's gonna die without this, he must be a fiend the likes I have never known.
Please don't insult my friend, Lord Spindle. And like I get a little serious since he called him a fiend.
Well, what would you call him? Dying without smoking grove sheen.
Well, he won't die, but he'll be in excruciating pain. And I would call him my friend.
I am a merciful man. I cannot stand the thought of suffering where I could lend a hand in its placation.
He exchanges a bit of grove sheen for the gold that you offer him.
How much was it?
Just whatever you want to offer.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not consequential, really.
Okay. I'll give him 3 gold. I'll actually like pay him a decent amount.
Okay.
And then I'll take it, and then I'll go over to Igear and I say, I appreciate you helping out with this. You and you as well, Vapor.
Be careful on the streets out there after dark.
Well, it's nice to know there's a side of you that wouldn't kill murdered children, or at least cares about someone. Makes me fear for my life a little bit less.
Well, Walykos and I have been together for a long time. He's like family to me.
Everyone
Take
cares
over.
about someone, no matter how awful they are. Unless you are a bog leech, I don't think a bog leech cares about anyone.
I
You know
wonder who the Night Stalker cares about. And I wonder if finding out that information might be how the killer is caught.
There must be at least one soul in this world who even the devious killer Night Stalker has affections and love for.
Adriel will look at Vapor and Igear one last time before he starts heading down. He'll say, "You both helped me, and I appreciate that. I'm happy to help you out if you need something. You have my word on that."
Better ring true. Because
Well,
you know
I was just speaking with Aygir about his duty of continuing to eradicate the monstrosities below the crumble. You can help him with that.
Wait, what was that again? I'm sorry, my bad. I missed that.
Monsters! Strange things from a misbegotten island that should not have been brought here. They lurk in a sealed ruin beneath the city. A corner of the crumble that was previously covered until recently. His prior allies met their demise there. And my Dunka.
Adriel sort of like thinks a little bit on it, actually, and says, and like
You
sort
can
of,
lend your aid with that, as you are capable.
yes, this actually sounds quite interesting. Would you, Igear, Vapor, I invite you to my home, perhaps tomorrow, same time. We can discuss this over dinner.
You should know now that
Vapor's going to look to Igear and give a subtle shake of his head. He doesn't want the information of where this is at getting out, and not something they should be talking over dinner.
Yeah. Well,
About, because they don't know who else could be listening.
If you're concerned,
You could blindfold him and escort him to the location.
I don't think it's us he's worried about. I think it's this blabbermouth over here. Or any prying ears that might be listening in on dinner in a...
Knowledge has power, and power is sharper than blades, and it can be used for good or for ill.
Well, I can
should be
assure
very
you
careful with
that myself and Wally Coast are trustworthy, and I can ask my family to leave the room as we discuss.
We shall decide tomorrow where to meet again to discuss the nature of this undertaking that you may now be joining us on. Although you should know now, and you should know before tomorrow even, that it is not exactly a safe place. People die down there.
My Dunka! If you
Real
can find
dead.
his poor broken body,
Real
bring
dead.
him to me. His
Stay
remains.
dead. Not wake up from the bed, dream dead. The kind of dead that even the Night Stalker doesn't kill in quite such a gruesome way as those things.
Yes, I'm sure it's quite dangerous, but like I said, you helped me, and I'm happy to help you.
Well, good. No backsies, outsies, as I think they say around here.
So where
He's full of strange expressions from the Westerlands.
shall we meet tomorrow, Igear?
We will discuss it over dinner. Afterwards, we shall just take a walk to somewhere free of listeners in.
And actually, you know what? Technically speaking, Adriel's never actually told you his name before, so he'll actually look to you and say, "And my name is Adriel, by the way."
Adriel Mantevale.
Adriel Mantevale.
Oh, fancy.
And then
Is Adriel wearing a mask out of curiosity?
yes, he is. Yeah, he's basically actually.
Adriel and
and
Walykos
Mantevale's
both wear bird masks.
Oh no, it would. So if I stop my webcam, it's like that kind of mask. It's just like a hood
Okay,
and a mask.
cloth.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
so then my next question is, his last name, that's one of the noble houses, correct?
Yeah. They have the.
Okay, so
storm
Vapor's just gonna another pompous upstart.
Well, hey, he goes around to all the places everywhere wearing a veil like some sort of a bride or a dancing girl. What did you expect? Of course he has nobility.
Yep. Adriel will now leave to.
Adriel is a noble, even though he has got like kind of the black sheep side of the family. But
Vapor's
his
just not happy.
grandfather is Duncan Mantevale, who is the master of rituals of Barnacle and the head of House Mantevale, the Lord of the Storm Tower.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
so his house is in the Storm Tower district. It's like a mini district. But yeah.
Does that make Wally Coast kind of like a ward? Like he's like a ward of the House of Mantevale?
Sort of. Yeah, I mean, you're a bastard, and Wally Coast, who was born an elf, and I guess in a manner of speaking, he still is, though he's kind of a cursed, twisted elf.
I mean, he's got some form of like disease potentially of some. It could be considered like leprosy, kind of. You know, like people don't want to be near him and all. So,
Your mask is made where, unless someone really finely looked, it seems that the horns come out of the mask.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Adriel will make his
So
way.
Adriel returns back, and then in the meantime, Wally Coast Ginteljar had came up to check on you, and he brought this decanter of dwarven fire water. Did you take a swig off of that?
I think that Walykos is kind of like in a fever-like state. Like he might be kind of hallucinating a little bit, and it wouldn't be sensical. He'd say things like, "I was going to actually whisper this to you, but you brought it back to the scene." And he's like, "No, I won't. Bale, no, please, don't, no." You know, and he's like saying things like that. And Ginteljar might have
pushed it down your throat. Maybe later you'll take it up. Oh, poor lad.
Vander, no. And so Ginteljar overhears him like doing like tossing and turning. He might have overheard some things, and that's where we leave him.
And Adriel comes back, and Ginteljar tells you like
he's having fits and deliriums, and he spoke a name that I am not familiar with.
Yeah, but I was just like, at this point, like I'm just gonna sort of like not like too hard or anything, but kind of like push him to the side and like come into the room, like close it, like slam the door behind, and I'm gonna like run up to Wally Coast and say, Wally Coast, and sort of like shake you a little bit and say, I've got the Grove Sheen.
Grove Sheen, give it here.
Yeah, now
the birds and the waxen bats are all sort of in a fuss and a flurry, and there's all these like chirps and squawks. The agitation and the anguish of Walykos has riled them up.
There's like horn marks on the wall where he scratched his horns just because it distracted him. The pain of that distracted him from the pain that he was feeling. So he was just like banging his head against the wall and doing stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I like put the Grove Sheen in your hand, and I'll look around, and I don't know how you probably took it, probably with a pipe or something.
Smoke it, yeah. So
yeah,
I assume
smoking is very common in Barnacle and Haven Isle. So as common as people in the real world would have a bottle of something, people here would have pipes. So probably
Wally uses this before now. He just used the weaker stuff, so he uses his pipe and he lights it, and he so Adriel will actually like go and get his pipe, and then he'll actually like he'll take it back and like put the Grove Sheen in the pipe for Wally Coast, and then like hand it to him.
And maybe you help him because he's in.
Yeah, exactly. Adriel's like actually like helping Wally Coast put it in his mouth, and he's like taking like a lighter and like lighting it for him.
And probably within seconds of inhaling the first, breath, he begins to immediately like, like his tremors start to fade, and he starts to calm down, and he just gets this like very relaxed, like everything's beginning to numb in a pleasant way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. and when that happens, like Adriel just sort of like sits back like on a chair kind of, because he's been like running around like this whole time. Like he hasn't stopped
the whole time.
And just like sits back. Yeah. And he actually like pulls that, because like it's Wally Coast, so he like pulls down his mask and just like all right. How are you feeling, Wally Coast?
Much better now. You want some of this? You took all the effort to go and get some. But
yeah, and Adriel will actually like take a bit of the pipe, and he'll actually like smoke a little bit as well. Probably not as much as Wally Coast.
You want a little buzz off it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like so he'll like smoke a little bit of it, hand it back to Wally Coast. And just sort of like with his eyes closed,
Yeah.
Wally Coast, we've got to figure something out about this.
It was bad. It was worse than anything before, but we'll have to.
There was a sensation throughout this fit that you had.
Yeah.
There was terrible racks of pain in your arms, and it was as though there was this crab inside of you, like pulling you from within.
Yeah.
It felt like your joints were like imploding and contracting on themselves.
And my legs also a little bit, because that's related to one of my level up things. I get an increase of 10-foot speed from the class, the Trickster. So I feel like my legs twisted and like reworked themselves, in certain ways, so they're even faster now. Despite all the pain, it was a metamorphosis of sorts that he underwent. But yes, the arms especially because of the curse. So yeah.
The Grove Sheen runs through you and gives you a calming sensation, a deepening sensation. It almost puts a dreamlike haze over you. And the sounds of the birds quiet down, and you hear their warbles kind of bouncing all over the place now. There's a swirling sensation you have, but it has helped you, so I'm sure it's a welcome sensation.
And I feel like the next day the fever, the pain has mostly receded, but it would have been very bad if he hadn't had the Grove Sheen. So he probably uses it up, getting through the day and the night. So
shortly after this, Ginteljar comes up to the roost, and he has in hand a little bird, a little pebble peck. You sell these things. It's a common bird, and they can be trained to a certain degree.
They come back to us.
Or a little messenger bird.
I had thought that one that was loosed by that strange patron, a strange customer of yours, had come back, but this is not one of yours. Look here, a small message tied onto his wee foot.
Yeah, Adriel will sort of take it. I assume Walykos is probably like still in the bed, so Adriel will
probably like just leaning back, kind of like half sitting up. But
yeah, Adriel will take the message off and sort of
you unravel this little message that was carefully tied onto the leg of this pebble peck, and it says,
"Your fortune is."
Your lucky numbers are 11.
It's 5. It's a fortune bird. Oh boy!
Yeah.
It says, "I will arrive soon. We shall speak."
The best angle to approach any problem from is the triangle.
I will arrive soon. We shall speak. K. You know who this is, Walykos. You know who K is.
Does Adriel know this, or?
Well, I'm just going to ask now.
Okay.
Do you want me to just say this like out loud for everyone to hear, or should this be a private message to just you, Warsor?
K.
Walykos knows.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't know, like out of game yet. But it's related to the thing. I get where you come from.
Yeah.
How I leave that up to you, Esper. Whatever you think is most dramatically appropriate.
I'm gonna send you a private message on Discord,
and I will determine what I can share. Yep. Understood.
I would like to roll a perception check to see if I see Discord.
That is totally a stealth check to sneak on to the private message. Or maybe some kind of hacking check. Is there
sleight of hand?
So
intelligence check to see if you can
shared
hack in.
this story and information with Adriel previously? Do you
I
tell him now, or is it still a mystery?
feel like he's kind of. How prying would Adriel have been into where Wally Coast was before he came back.
I think Adriel would have actually been pretty prying because
Okay.
because you are like essentially his only friend. Like he probably cares more about you than his father or his mother, for example. Like so it's
Then I would have shared most of the story, but left out probably the name of like the bail guy.
okay. Yeah.
So but yeah, so essentially what you would know then, Adriel, is that Walykos, while he was gone, when he disappeared for a while, he was apprenticed. He joined a group that wasn't in Barnacle. It was actually further in the island. What's that? Yeah.
It's specifically southeast of the Orc tribe lands.
Yeah, he went away for a time, and basically he kind of was taken in and trained by this person who saw great things in Walykos. He saw potential that Walykos could become, perhaps a paragon of some sort. And so he had a plan he had some other apprentices with him, and this master had a plan for Walykos, and the relationship turned. It went sour. Walykos didn't want to follow the plan anymore, and the master got angry, and he imprisoned Walykos, and he afflicted him with what Walykos is afflicted with. That's why he looks different. He would have explained that to you because you probably have seen him without his mask on.
Of course. Just
because
like
you're one of the few people, who has. So he's been twisted by this magical affliction, and so, but to escape, he was imprisoned. He was thrown in, the guy's prison. There was an individual, Corgain Makel, who is also known as K in this message, came to Walykos. He's a mysterious person. We don't know a lot about him. He found Walykos. He helped him escape. He gave him the pipes that he plays, and they drop the illusion magic that allowed him to escape. Basically, he left an illusion of himself, which is one of the illusions that can create, in the cell, and it allowed him time to escape from the place.
Gotcha. Yeah, because Adriel definitely has been like he wants to help Walykos get those curse fixed and all that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a very powerful and unique kind of curse. So Walykos doesn't really know. He was just trying to hope that it would fix itself, because it definitely, it's not fully taken effect. It hasn't taken hold of him.
Yeah.
Like, it was supposed to do something else. It didn't do that.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know what's going on, and he hoped that he, like a disease, he could fight it off.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to be getting worse, with these pains. So that's kind of where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And Kay is coming. Apparently, I assume I parted ways. Kay probably left me. He left me the tool that I needed to get out, and said we'll meet again.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't. Esper, you're muted.
Oopsie. Yeah, he helped you sneak out, escape from this lair. You went across this kind
feel
of
like he
peninsula-ish land, and then you got to the coast where there were these halflings with boats. And the halflings boated you to the flotilla, which is this floating halfling ship's town. And they took you back to Barnacle so you could find Adriel.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, but at some point, Kay probably disappeared. Very
You haven't
Gandalf
seen Kay since you got onto the flotilla a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's
All
been
right.
it's been a couple of years.
All right. Well, after sort of reading the message to you, Walykos and everything, I'm gonna sort of put it back up and say, all right, well, if he's coming, fine, but I believe we may be meeting with Aygir and Vapa soon as well. They had something that may need assistance. They were the ones who helped me get the grove machine, so I think it's only fair to help them. we must repay our debts. Oh, and you are muted. Sorry.
Thank you. We cannot know when he will make himself known, but if he sent this bird, he can't be far. Continue with our normal business, and he will find us. I have no doubt.
Yes, I think that's fair.
I'm also curious if you would like to share with us your new developments class-wise.
Oh yeah, sure. And for everyone that's enjoying the Paragon class, learning more about it, Paragon level 3 is interesting. So there are no archetypes that you pick at level 3 for the Paragon. You picked it already at level 1 when you joined, similar to how certain classes do. But here's what I get. Paragon of the Trickster level 3. I get Nimbleness, which both gives me proficiency with dexterity saving throws and 10 feet more speed when I'm unarmored. So I got that. I have Trickster Wondercraft, which gives me an extra wonder so long as it is of the Trickster, Myth of the Trickster, or Acrobatics, Stealth, Sleight of Hand, Deception as one of the wonder requirements. And I also gained Expertise in 2 skills. Just as a rogue would, I get to add my proficiency doubly to those 2 skills. I put it in Acrobatics and Perception. But for my wonders, that's probably what you're wondering the most about. I kept Satyr's Ploy. I changed Tread the Path Blades. Yep. Oh, that's never going away. I traded Tread the Path of Blades for Hawkeye, which is a special one that is once per long rest. You activate it as a bonus action, I think, and for 10 minutes thereafter, you get advantage on perception checks. You add 1d4 to weapon attack rolls, and damage rolls. That's what I meant. And you also get to ignore 3/4 and half cover when making attacks. So pretty good. I liked it a lot, and I was gonna thematically, like, my eye changed while I was undergoing the metamorphosis to now have almost like a slitted, maybe like a hawk kind of looking eye. Fade into the Mist was my final one that I chose with my Trickster Wondercraft. It is a stealth-based wonder. Essentially, once per short or long rest, I can bonus action, move my speed, and if I end my movement in, I think it's light or heavy obscurement. Basically, I need some form of obscurement. I can make a hide check for free. And it gets better as I get to higher levels, as do all wonders.
Yeah, at Paragon level 7 and again at level 15, all wonders kind of evolve into stronger versions of themselves.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that
Good
because
choices.
it's extra movement for free. So.
Yep. Yeah. Starting now, it's essentially a once per short rest, bonus action, dash plus hide.
Yep.
It's cool.
Pretty good.
It gets even better at higher levels. All right. Nice. So you all reconvene the following day or shortly thereafter to talk about where do we go next? Do we continue working with one another? What are we doing?
Now, did we decide to meet at my house for this, or
It sounds like you're having a nice dinner at the Mantevale, the lesser Mantevale's manor.
Yeah. So now that
Adriel's mother is there. Her name is Florina, and she is very into smoking and
killing goblin babies.
I got it from my mom's side. What can I say?
She even smells the Gropesheen. There is fine Gropesheen in this house. Who brought that in here? Come on, bring it to the table. Don't hog it all to yourself.
I don't think there's any left, but Unless they brought more.
Why would you bring that in here and not share any with me? Adriel, you know better than that. She like pulls on your ear.
Yes, mother, I'm aware of your drug addiction. I will bring you more next time.
That's how you talk to your mother?
Yep, that's how I talk to my mother.
I would
say what you want, but what's the point of living if you're not having fun?
I just sort of like shake my head like, and I'll look at Igear and say,
some more of that. Yeah, that fish right there, it's delicious. And she pops in a big bite of fish in her mouth. Just to let you know, her and your father, who would be like your biological father, Gentiljar, they're not actually an item.
Yeah,
like they don't have like a proper relationship. They don't really talk to each other very much.
They just kind of like
really is the guardsman of the house. He's kind of like a servant, like a high.
They kind of just had a one night stand. Yeah, one night stand. They did the nasty, and then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna be done with this."
We don't actually care about each other.
Yeah. Florina is very much into the high life and parties and gossip and digging up dirt on people and social games and intrigues.
Yeah.
She's kind of a gossip monger, but she herself has a lot of her own dirty laundry.
I guess like while we're finishing up,
profuse smoker.
Mm-hmm. I guess like while we're eating and things like that, and we're discussing things. I guess to make one thing a note, even while we're like, everyone else is eating, Adriel probably isn't because he doesn't take his mask off for Igear and Vapor. But he will like after a few minutes, he will sort of say, mother, father, and also like just gestures to everyone else. Do you all mind leaving for a bit? We have some private matters to discuss.
Oh, no problem. I was just going to go and find myself something else to load into the old pipe here. And your mother excuses herself from the room. Some of the other, we still need to populate who else lives in this manor, but the other family members and retainers and servants, clear away, leaving the four of you.
Yep. And I'll look to Igear and Vapor and say, apologies about my mother. She's a bit eccentric at times, but we should be in private now.
Yes, we should. Although, having met your mother and others, I am fairly convinced that there is no private around here. I think we should keep the conversation for now to...
I saw a nice tavern on the way up that we could go visit.
We will talk about this in the workshop at the Broken Tower, where there are actually no prying ears. Or if you would prefer, Vapor, that one spot.
We can go to the Aviary if you're concerned of being overheard. There's only one approach to it, unless someone cares to climb 100 feet up the side of a sheer tower, which if someone chose to do so, it would probably end very poorly for them.
And these are not the type of birds that can talk, are they?
No, they're not.
No. These birds do not speak.
Well, then with that in mind, your mother sure does know her way to set a table, and whoever cooked this, well, they are not bad at what they do.
Some of the most delicious mushrooms and heavy smoky mushroom sauce you've ever tasted.
Yeah, I'll say yes. We may be the black sheep of the family of. Sorry, I'm still trying to remember the name of Mantevale. We may be the black sheep of the family of Mantevale, but being nobility does have its perks.
There's a lot of stuff in this house. It's actually very cluttered, like almost hoarder level, and it's just everything the few servants can do to keep things in this state of like organized mess.
Yep.
And you all decide you're going to go up to the aviary to talk. As soon as you leave the room, to head to the stairs, like your mother is like suspiciously right by the doorway, and she just acts like, oh, where did I put that? Oh, and she's like combing through the mess of clutter that.
Adriel's like, "Mom, I'm going to my room to play with my friends.
Yeah, as Adriel walks up,
Bring us pizza bagels."
Adriel just sort of shakes his head and like sort of mumbles like, "If she wasn't my mother," and then continues up.
Yeah, I'll lead the way into the aviary, which is a bit of a mess. You know, it's our home, but it's also like you walk into a college dorm room, I guess.
All right, so you're up in the roost, and there's a bunch of bird cages, and various avian creatures, and even some of these furry bat things. And what are you reckoning? The four of you are to go back underneath?
Yes. So Adriel, once we're up here, will say, "Well, Igear, Vapor, you said that you had something that you needed assistance on, and gave me my word that we would help."
Vapor's going to look to Adriel. Before we begin, I would like to, just to be sure we're secure, cast Detect Magic to make sure there's nothing that could be listening in for his spell.
Yeah, Adriel,
what we're going to be sharing should never get out if we can help it.
Paranoia is a little insulting, but you may do whatever you wish to ensure.
Vapor will cast Detect Magic. I have a feeling there's going to be nothing that would stand out, but Vapor is just where they were. It's just something he does not want anyone hearing about.
There's an invisible stalker.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Like, there's just like a guy like on the wall that's like hiding. He's like, "Shit." I would have thought they could cast Detect Magic.
It looks like a painting, but like,
Yeah.
If you look at it from the side, actually, his head's like.
Ignore me.
Spell
there's no magic involved. It's just pure paint, but you were so paranoid and you're scrutinizing that you noticed it.
Yeah. In Vapor's mind,
Gary.
What this is
all the time.
Yeah, but where this is at, Vapor does not want it getting out because of how dangerous it is.
We went up a long spiral staircase to get here, so like it's pretty clear. You look out the door, there's no one there. You can go to the window, you can check out the entire room.
Yeah,
it's pretty isolated from the rest. That's why Wally Coast stays there, because it keeps him isolated from everyone else.
Yeah. And I imagine these stairs, originally these were giant stairs.
Yep.
So when they get refitted to elves, like one giant step gets like hewed into like 3 or 4 elf-sized steps.
Yep.
So you're like going up a staircase inside of a staircase.
Yeah.
And it goes up a good few stories, and you get up in this roost aviary place where they also, Adriel and Wally Coast also have their beds and whatever personal effects and drawers and stuff.
Nice thing about being a giant's place is there's plenty of space for us little folk.
It's true.
Yeah, what once was this massive giant castle now is the better part of a whole city.
Yeah.
So with the Detect Magic, I'm figuring other than the spell scrolls, there's nothing that he's picking up.
I think that's true.
Okay. Vapor's going to look to Aygir and nod his head, showing that they're secure. There's nothing there.
Yes, I gave you my word. We weren't going to trick you.
So much paranoia from the first time I met, where you were so willing to exchange names and be all friendly and tell everything.
Well, if you knew about something like this, I feel like your false people would feel the same way. And now you're about to know about it. So, beneath this very city, beneath the crumble, well, to back up, I am sure you know, we have mentioned, Vapor and I, that we used to know 2 other people. They used to be our traveling companions. And they are no longer with us. They are no longer alive. They met their fate down there beneath the crumbles at the hands of, what is that word that Connie Spindle called them?
The Balai.
Yes, Balai. It's a strange language that word is from. I do not know it. But they are not from here. They're from some strange place he described, brought here long ago by elves to help fight the giants. They are Well, there are beasts that hatch from eggs and spit acid and are just generally terrible. And if they're down there, that means they can potentially get out. So we need to stop them. And that requires the help of, or is it poison? Is it poison or acid? It's poison.
Poison.
Poison. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. They're smarter than just mere animals. They can
Right.
figure things out.
If they're down there, they can get out. So we're going to go back down there and eradicate them once and for all. For that, just Vapor and I is not enough.
Why do you not just tell everyone of these threats and have the elves go and eradicate? If there is as big a threat as you say, why do you hide this information?
Well, they were weaponized in the past. If this information were to get out, there is no telling what nefarious means people could use these for. It
sounds like they've already used them for them.
Yes, and we are to ensure that nobody ever does again.
So does anyone else
There's
know?
also a point which I'll just lay it out there because it might be of interest to you all. The Balai, the deployment of the Balai, which began as eggs that the Drakestone put beneath the giant's castle, that was never public information, ever.
Out of game, I'm aware of that.
Yes. Yeah. It would reflect not so good.
It would be shameful. It would be.
It would be dishonoring all of House
Drakestone. Yeah, it would be completely.
Drakestone couldn't have won the war if they wouldn't have deployed these like horrible monster things that
biological
really
weapons
unleashed upon civilization.
Yeah.
So Adriel sort of like thinking to himself and says, perhaps it would be a good thing in a way to bring Drakestone down a peg, though.
Well, perhaps there's more profit to be made in dealing with them ourselves, but I have a question. Why still all the secrecy? Surely you could, tell you have allies, I assume, or maybe not. Maybe you are an outsider here.
Allies, yes, but I mean, you're looking at them.
Yes.
It's not like there are exactly many people here who are itching to help, people like me. Well, like us, really.
Neither of you are associated with any of the houses, are you?
Take a wild guess.
Yes. Well, I'm sure that our house could help, but why not bring in our whole house on this and let us deal with these? Why risk our lives going down there against these monsters who you admitted have already killed half your group before now? Why take such a risk when we could get some soldiers or others to come with us and exterminate these creatures?
Yes, I'm sure that we could get it done much quicker if we brought more of essentially a small army with us.
Such information as you provide, it sounds like you don't want it to become extreme public knowledge, but if this was perhaps reasoned, negotiated with my house, or I'm sorry, Adriel's house, they might be able to come to an arrangement with you.
Yes, an arrangement in which they use it as leverage to gain power over Drakestone. Forgive me for being a bit mistrustful of elves in general, but, well, I mean, look at me. Do I seem like somebody who would fit into their idea of the system?
Can I ask you a question? Why do you care if Drakestone is in charge? Why does it matter to you the politics of the situation?
Truthfully, it does not. But if such information were to get out, there's nothing saying that any given one would not want to eliminate witnesses.
Well, from my perspective, it seems as though you're wanting to do something with this place, something secret. Now, I've given you my word to help you, but I'd at least like to have a little bit more information so I know that we're not walking into a full-on death trap.
Well, it's a nice place. You know, if it were clear, I think we could make quite some use of it. There's a forge down there and a workshop that have become somewhat enamored with, and well, you also know we are, all of us, somewhat affiliated with the Crossroaders.
Who were your other two companions, if you don't mind me asking?
They were noble souls who died doing, well, good work, fighting against these horrid monsters.
Did they have names?
What is it to you? Why do you care?
Well, it seems to me that you've been holding back a little bit. If there's to be some trust here, if we are to help you and risk our lives, there needs to be an exchange. One, you held back. You said that this place you want to turn into some sort of potential base. That's information that's of value to us as well. We might have a stake in that if you ask us to help clear it out.
You will have a stake if and only if you don't go trying to say you have some ownership over a third of.
No, I would say a half sounds more appropriate.
As long as it's not the workshop or any of the.
We will not divide a line down the center. We will share it equally, but we will each have equal right to use it.
Yes, and I think that we can both agree, or both of our parties can agree, that keeping a base that we work together in secret would be of benefit to each of us.
Also, wait. So what is Adriel's house's name one more time?
Mantevale.
Mantevale,
which is it's a house sworn to Drakestone.
Yep.
Where's Mantevale? If you must know, one of them was a good friend of mine from the Tangle, a real man of culture and rich heritage, who, well, I learned things from him that I would not have known even from many, many years of digging down in old ruins of times from before even Eirberg. And the other one, well, he was the son of House Drakestone.
Adriel actually, like, his eyes, like, widen a little bit, like, Drakestone went down with you to help.
Yes, that's right. There's more than one house that has, that questionable cadet branch, that one son they don't mention too much. They all have them.
Yes, but
this is big news that
Elwyn
Drakestone died on some quest.
Oh, I would have known about this? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, man, that was huge news.
Did we know it was specifically this thing?
No,
we didn't know about
how
this.
he died.
We don't know the
all that Vapor said was that on a quest he was killed by the monster, essentially.
Yeah. All right, so Adriel will say, well, yes, there's always some in the noble houses, but Elwyn was a pure-blood elf. Quite strange, if you ask me.
Yes, strange that his pure elfin blood didn't, resist him from being poisoned to death and coughing out his last in blood on the floor. Yes, strange.
Adriel sort of thinks to himself, and he's just like this is just like his own thoughts right now, but he's kind of thinking like, how can I like use the fact that Elwyn is sort of like going with these commoners like to my benefit, essentially? Like, how can I get this out in some way that's gonna like
time to figure that out time, I'm sure.
So here's how I see things.
Yeah.
We have Aygir's way, let's call it, of it's just us. Let's go down there. Let's clear out these monsters. It's kind of a duty that we're serving for Con and Spindle and kind of the benefit of everyone, ourselves included, everyone who lives here. And since no one really knows about this place, we can utilize it as our base of operations. Yep. The potential problems with that, as Wally Coast pointed out, is we don't know how dangerous exactly it is down there.
Right.
Is it just there's just one more adult and this clutch of eggs and that's it?
or
that
is
isn't
there
bad.
something else?
Yeah, so
There is
seemed
another
like, but-
section
yeah.
like down the other way of that big corridor.
Right.
So after
It's not explored
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
There could
So
be
af-
additional. Hold on. I want to get this out because I think it's important.
Yeah.
There could potentially be additional monsters, and also there's the fact that this used to be a fire giant layer. So like traps and mechanisms and stuff that you encounter is fire giant stuff, not level 3.
Remember
Not
that that trap that was on the workshop that would have
Yeah,
instantly
the wall
killed
of
you?
fire stuff.
that Elwyn pulled you back from. Yeah.
Okay,
All
so
right.
that's Aygir's way. And then Walykos's way is, well, let's just bring this to the attention of Mantevale. We can be discreet and just talk to like, Lord Duncan or someone who is
Duncan.
of rank, and we'll organize a little squad. We'll go down there with much more force,
Backing.
and we can take on dangers much more easily. The potential problems with that way would be kind of twofold. One is, by the way, we're also involved in the death of Elwyn Drakestone, and we're also involved with the Crossroaders, who is a bandit group.
Whoa, we don't need to mention the Crossroaders. I don't even know about
But I mean, those are still facts that kind of lurk beneath the surface.
Yeah, I get
And
what
then
you're
the
saying.
other problem is like, well, that kind of means that Mantevale and by extension Drakestone is going to take control of this place, and it's not going to be your own. Like, we found it and put our flag in it. It's like Drakestone's like that. Drakestone conquered that. Just because we didn't happen to lift up that stone and notice it doesn't mean it's not ours.
Yeah. All right. I guess Adriel, after thinking for a bit, will say, I think that from my perspective, the best course of action that benefits both of us would be, let's go in there, rid it of all of these monsters, these creatures, these traps, deal with all of it together, and then all 4 of us can use it in equal parts. Walykos and myself can use it for what we seek, and you and Vapor can use it for what you want, and we can work on this together and build it up to something great. Equal share for each of us.
Which, out of character, it's probably worth mentioning that, going down there with an army is probably always the best solution to
Of course, yeah. Well, this is why Adriel's bringing this up. Like, hey, let's do it together. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. We have
there's
shares,
definitely a cost, risk reward. There's no risk if we send in the army, but that also means that we won't F it up, and those creatures will get out and whatever.
Yeah.
But
So
also,
It sounds like you're fine with a biological weapon potentially getting out into the wild if we fail.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that too, realistically. So let's do it.
Yeah. So Adriel offers that. Like, let's
I
have
see
an
you
equal
laughing,
share.
Esper.
Yeah. So Adriel's just like, we have an equal share. Let's go in there. Let's do it. Yeah.
Plus, there's a whole nother dungeon that Esper gets to invent on the other path.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. I think we have a plan then. So we're gonna go do this.
Yeah, Esper. Let's see what we can get done. We might be able to maybe get into
Get a
the
comp.
dungeon.
We can get something going. Yeah.
There's a different scene that happens before this dungeon delve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
So-
it
Is it
Let's lay
K?
this out to you. It's a very different scene.
Special K?
Every kiss begins with K.
So, Kana Spindle's suspicions, and he's not the only one who suspects this, come true. And indeed, House Drakestone declares the arrest. They put out the arrest. I don't want to say if it's a warrant, but they seek to arrest the Sea Queen, aka her real name is Porcelina Marine.
Yep.
They
Merocrats.
arrest her under suspicions of the Night Stalker being a Merocrat agent. So they put out that decree, and the Merocrats essentially refuse.
I was going to say, how are they going to enforce it? There's so many Merocrats that could.
The Merocrats just they refuse. They say, no, she's not going to turn herself in. We're not turning her over. If you come here, you're not going to get access.
Yeah,
You're not going to get access to her. We have knights too, and we have some soldiers too. Drakestone probably has a little bit more, but still,
it would be a bloody civil war that would tear Barnacle apart. And
So
basically, they're
Americats
posturing.
refuse.
Yeah.
And typically, this sort of active refusal would be deemed high contempt. I mean, you're refusing the Duke, and the Duke is like under the king. The king's not in Haven Isle. The king's like back.
Depends on how they justify their refusal. How do they justify it? Are they just saying, no, she's not doing that? Or do they say, she's not doing that because of such and such? The Night Stalker is clearly, do they have a justification?
Right. Yes, they sure do. So the Merocrats hold far too much political and economic power to just be forced so easily like other people could be arrested. And they argue for city discourse. And they say, no, you cannot take Porcelina into your own dungeons and tribunals and court. This needs to be a public thing. We can publicly debate this and let everybody watch it. But no, you're not going to just take her under arrest. So
like a good place
gathers to witness this spectacle. And it's a heated debate that takes place at an amphitheater in the Sea Palace district. So you all are there. Adriel's mother is there, and much of Barnacle's gathered. It's this huge amphitheater. It's a giant's amphitheater, or originally was converted for elves. And so much of the city is there watching this what's called city discourse. And it's a really big affair. And there is, the great stage of the amphitheater, and there's the two sides, and there's, top ranking members, nobles, knights, and ladies. They're the most notable representatives being Duke Ormond Drakestone, the Duke of Barnacle, and Sea Queen Porcelina Marine, which I've said this before and I'll point it out again. Queen is a title that the people gave to her, and she calls herself that too. It's like she eats it up. She's not a queen in the traditional sense of an actual proper queen. It's a term of affection or grandeur. All right, so there's this. You all are there, and there's crowds of people, and there's Drakestone loyalists, and there's Merocrats. That's another defining feature of Merocrat. Anybody can be Merocrat. Like, you can essentially just join their faction because you believe in their cause, or you like them, or you like the benefits that they are giving you or promising to give you.
It's very much
only Drakestone if you're like a noble house that is sworn to Drakestone.
Yeah, they're a political party that allow non-nobles, to join them and such. So
yeah, they specifically talk. They always talk about, in spending the money not in building grander castles and developing the military and conquest, but spending it on the public and on people. And they always tell people, we're going to help you. And they have
I'm getting they're the new ideas versus the old.
It's very new versus old.
It's reform versus
tradition.
What's it? Yeah.
Reform versus tradition, very much so. So there's this debate going on, and you're listening to the debate, and each sides are arguing, and they've got a lot of prominent people on the stage. There are 4 big name knights per side that's on the stage as well. For House Drakestone, there is Penn Drakestone, who was like the grandfather of Elowyn, or he is the grandfather of late Elowyn, and he's the younger brother of the Duke, and he's, you would say, probably the most well-known, famous, honorable, greatest knight of Barnacle, Penn Drakestone. He has a big name. He's in his early 60s. He's been around for a long time, and is usually pretty highly thought of. There's Rigby Brackenbluff and Keon Brackenbluff, and there's also Varric Mantevale. So he's related to Adriel. He's the grandson of Duncan, and he would actually live in the Storm Tower proper.
Yeah, he's from the proper side of the family.
Adriel's like on the lesser branch of the family.
Yeah, he's on the proper side.
The Merocrats, they have their knights as well. There's these two brothers that are known as the Boundless Brothers. They're these like dashing, beloved knight duos, or at least beloved by the Merocrats, Farley Clane and Brewster Clane. There's Reed Eustaves, who is this knight that wields a double glaive. And
is the starfish there?
Yes, he is as well. Reed Eustaves was known to have defeated a fire giant in single combat.
Well,
And yeah. And
I would like to roll to attack. No, I'm kidding.
like 20 miles
scale is there as well on the stage. Thorn 7 scale is commonly called the Starfish. He is the warden of Haven's Port, and he has this big morning star. So all this is going on, really a heated debate. And I do have some lines of some of the back and forth. I'd have to write like a whole novel chapter to do the whole thing. I'm not going to do that. But here are some lines. So it's going to go back and forth, starting with Drakestone, and then the Merocrats reply. So we can think of this as the Duke and the Sea Queen arguing each other's respective sides.
Are we just going to be watching this, observing? I'll mute myself.
Yes.
So. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So it's in the middle of this argument, and the Duke says, he makes this point that's been made several times. All of the Night Stalker's victims were Drakestone loyalists. How can you not see that the Night Stalker is in league with the Merocrats? Eustrum Laith was not a loyalist of Drakestone. We searched her house, questioned her family. She was a Drakestone loyalist in her private life. She spoke to her friends and her family of our good name. They all can tell you that. They only told you that out of fear of your reactions, your repercussions, had they said otherwise. They're not going to defy the Duke's men to his fate, to their faces. You have no proof of that. We have proof. We have reports. We know for certain the Night Stalker is claiming those loyal to Drakestone. Our own Sir Rourke Drakestone, great knight, rest in peace, was slain in his sleep within the Long Keep. Your obsession over this killer is as one who accuses the tool, but not the one who wields it. Can't you see this Night Stalker, as you call him, is not one person? This is a curse delivered by the great Lula. How could one mere person infiltrate and slay so many in such a short time? And we are no closer to discovering any clue as to who he is. Isn't that strange? No snare can bind him. This is no mortal killer. No, they are the angels of the deeps, the children of Lula, who bring her punishment as House Drakestone has dominated and subjugated the meek, the humble, the poor, and the underserved, all for its own benefit. In order for you to be great, vast others must be made to suffer. As long as you cling to your sins, Lula will deliver her retribution. And sidebar here, Lula is a sea goddess of sort of lesser sea creatures, squids, snails, barnacles, starfish, slugs. And she's also not a goddess that's worshipped in Haven Isle. And Drakestone makes a point about that. Lula does not dwell in Haven Isle. She is in Terra Morgana. And what bald-faced audacity you have to claim that this goddess is here and happens to be striking out in the name of your cause, your misguided and underhanded cause. I would expect nothing less from someone who calls herself a queen. You are no queen. You mock the one true Queen Rowena by saying so. Drakestone can never be wrong. You make all the rules. You're never wrong. You never apologize. You never admit your flaws nor your misdeeds. You are blind in your pride, and the age of your rule is coming to an end. You must accept it, or all will face more misery because of your refusal to hold on stubbornly. Drakestone holds you in high contempt, and suspicions of insurrection and conspiracy. I order your arrest. At this point, Porcelina stands up. Arrest me. Do it. See what consequences will befall you. And at this point, the crowd begins to uproar, and the merocrats, like all the common merocrats, begin to agitate, and a lot of people start forming in a mob. And Ballad Averill, he's the Magister of Havensport on the merocrat side. He's yelling, "This arrest is an outrage, completely unfounded. If you arrest our fair sea queen, we shall bar Drakestone from Havensport. Your fortunes will squander. You will rot in your towers." And the mob begins throwing things at House Drakestone, and they press against the guards, and they kind of break through the guards' line, and they start swarming the stage. And Drakestone begins a retreat, and their knights and their soldiers hoist up shields, trying to protect the Duke and the other high-ranking members. And a revolter throws a dart that makes it like right through a crack between two shields, and this dart strikes the Duke, and Sir Pin Drakestone's sword flashes and just splits the guy open from shoulder to hip. People are shrieking. It just kind of erupts into chaos, and Drakestone is fleeing. Are you all doing anything, or I guess I should say, what are you doing in the midst of all of this?
Getting the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, I think
Vapor's
getting away would be
getting away. Well, looking to Igear going,
Like,
well,
we're not the sort of heroes that are going to jump in and be like, no, we're going to stop all this. You know, we're going to show the true Night Stalker is that person over there. It's Esper.
yeah, Vapor's going to look to Aygir. Well, perhaps after we're done clearing out that place, we should head to the steps, get as far away, because I believe a civil war is on the horizon.
Well, I'd say if we're going to stay in Barnacle for any length of time, it is imperative we have a place to disappear from the public for a while.
Agreed.
But yes, I do sort of miss being atop a Xena, with nothing but the sky above me and nothing in my way of escape in the form of buildings. Only
Personally-
restland.
Personally, I feel as though Drakestone kind of got what was coming to him, but I don't feel like getting involved in this just yet.
Walykos will look to
What I'm
Adriel.
imagining is the four of you have already escaped the crowd and the roaring, and you're just kind of speaking quietly to one another. There's a lot of people still. You're not the only ones that are fleeing the amphitheater. And so there's crowd everywhere, but you get away from the violent part, and you're kind of on the outskirts of the amphitheater.
Yeah, agreed. I think we're actually still making our way, and I would look to Adriel. Walykos would say, this Night Stalker business is dividing the city. I don't believe there is either Drakestone or the Merocrats who wishes this, but there is another who is pulling the strings here.
I think you're right, Walykos, and, well, perhaps if we could uncover this, it would be quite the benefit to our house.
But the question, would Vapor be able to hear this? What they're talking about is like, are we staying as a group, or are we like kind of in separate groups?
Adriel, I believe, I was assuming that me and Adriel were together.
Okay.
You were we all there together? I don't know. Esper kind of just put us in the crowd.
It's up to you guys. It's completely up to you. You can be together. You can not be. Whatever you want.
Okay. Well, let's just say we're all together.
Yeah, I would think.
All right. So then a Vapor would have something to pop in on what Walykos says. But the question is, Walykos, who would have to gain from the city falling into chaos?
Well, I could give you my guess, but I think it better, Adriel, if we were to meet with Kay. I believe that he might be able to help us with this particular matter.
Well,
Yes, he may
Giant,
have
for
someone-
one, would stand to benefit from the elves falling down. But yes, if this K is who you have maybe
We
said
haven't
he
told you
was.
about Kay.
You haven't?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the first time you've heard him mention
Yeah,
Kay.
you literally just heard me say we
Okay.
should meet with Kay.
But if this K is someone you think we should talk to, well, who is this K you speak of?
You don't need to worry about that. Kay is an associate, an old ally of mine who may be able to help us.
Now, who's the secretive one?
He is of
Well,
no
this is not
concern
part
of
of our
you.
arrangement. We are helping you. We have made no other arrangements beyond.
And he is of no concern of yours, Igear. He's not going to get in our way or anything if that's what you're concerned about.
I'm concerned that this one wants to pry us
I'm
with
very
the
curious
blood.
now. Who could this mysterious figure be?
Says an old elven man with long white hair and this like wide brimmed hat and a cloak. And you're in this plaza outside the amphitheater with like people everywhere.
Yeah.
People are looking for family members that they got separated from. People are like looking out for, there's probably some like slugfest going on. People are trying to leave. Other people are hanging out like it's a entertaining spectacle. Like, whoa, something's happening. There's a bunch of people everywhere. And this old elf man in this wide hat suddenly wants to know. He apparently eavesdropped. And who are you talking about?
I'm gonna glare at him and say, "Move along, old man. This doesn't concern you."
Is this Kay? Just to be certain, Esper.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. If it is K, I will not say that. Yeah.
Well, you would know, Adriel. You would probably
that's
say
true.
that.
I've never met him. That's true. Yeah. So I would just say
you've never seen this person before, Walykos.
Okay.
But he acts like he starts walking away, when Adriel says, "Go away, old man." Oh, fine then. But as he walks past Walykos, he whispers in his ear in a totally different voice.
Yeah.
"It is I, Corgain. Come, take a walk with me."
I just kind of pretend like I didn't hear, but I did. And I say, we'll tell you about Kay when the time is right, Igear. You don't need to know any more than that. And if he can help in some way, I'll be sure to give you that information if you are with us. Adriel, excuse me, I think we should probably disperse because of the crowd. I'm going to meet you back at the Broken Tower. I just want to see if, what's going on. And I think I can do that better by myself without a group.
fair enough.
And with that, I begin to stealthily move myself. And for a big guy, I'm really stealthy. I can almost fade into mist, if you will.
And actually,
into the dust kicked up by a crowd, an agitated crowd.
And actually, since we are dispersing, Adriel also kind of wants to go see what's going on, maybe with Drakestone after he got that dart in him. So he's going to.
I think that's actually kind of cool idea. Maybe you can get some info.
Yeah, Adriel's a little interested, from his own perspective. So,
were there any Mantevales at the meeting? Did you say, Esper? I think you did. Yeah, there was one.
There were some.
It was Varric, wasn't it? Yeah, Varric.
Well, there would be Duncan Mantevale because he's the Lord of the Storm Tower and the Master of Rituals. And then
you said his son.
Varric is his. Yeah. I think it's his grandson, who's a knight.
Says her. Oh yeah, it is grandson because Locke Mantevale is his daughter. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So Adriel will sort of also sneak out and sort of get it to a way where he can follow the Drake zones, and if he has a chance, he might even get into the Drake to the castle as well.
I was going to say you'd probably have good luck talking to Varric or Duncan since they're part of your house.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, Adriel just kind of he actually just wants to investigate a little bit by himself and go find this stuff out. Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna go check out the
Adriel
old.
And Wally Coast. They want to check out some things by themselves. Igear and Vapor, do you stay together?
Seems as everyone's splitting off, we should go and get ourselves ready.
Well, Igear has work to do. He needs to finish up the armor.
Okay.
So he's
sounds like
already...
Igear and Vapor are heading towards the Broken Tower.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going back kind of westward through the city. You see two elven boys who are all excited from the fight that is erupting. And they are playing a duel of wizards, imaginary wizards, holding sticks for wands. And the first one says, "I am darkness, the son of the darkness. You magic missiled my father. Prepare yourself." And the other boy responds, I'm going to burn several people today. All of them are you.
It's canon. Yes.
Oh,
Let's see
well
if one of them has like a latent high elf magic that will suddenly manifest in him. Here we go. Oh my god, I rolled a 19 on my d20. And when he says it in the burst,
Fireball.
he casts a firebolt. And the
can
firebolt
Vapor
strikes
cast shield
somebody.
as a reaction to protect the other kid?
Okay. Wow, that's really cool. Make like an acrobatics check.
Yeah, you'd have to interpose yourself because you can't cast it on someone else.
Technically,
Oh.
yeah, you have to
Go
cast.
for it.
Okay, I did not realize that, but
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's a 16.
Okay, that's good enough. You got a moderate DC. You see this kid like manifest some like high elf magic unknowingly and casts a firebolt out, and it's streaking towards someone that's close to you, Vapor, and maybe an old lady or something, right? And you know, you jump over and like cast your shield spell, and it blocks the fire. And the woman's like, "Wah!" And this fire,
Which
like,
I also
rippling
think
along
believes
this force
triggers
shield
my
right
wild
by her.
magic. I
Oh,
do
no.
that.
Yeah. You protect the old lady, but then cast fireball.
Hold on.
Did you become fire and you're a troll?
Okay, hold on. I gotta double check what because I just rolled a 3.
It has to be a nat 1, so you're fine.
You have to get
Okay.
that one there, so you're fine.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Wouldn't it be funny though if you accidentally wild magicked a fireball centered on yourself? I'll save
That
you
would have been
fireball.
great.
Okay.
Turns out,
no-
oh no, that wasn't a fireball. It was a fireball.
There's a shriek in the crowd, and that erupts in a new little pocket of chaos. Walykos, you catch up to the old man, and you turn a building. There's a lot of buildings here, houses and some official buildings. You're close to Haven's port, the port of the city. You turn the building, and the old man says, "It's only you, is that right?"
You only spoke to me, so I assumed that you wished me to come alone.
Very good. You see him pull down the brim on his hat,
Mhm.
and he does something that looks like he's folding the hat around, and then he pulls it back over, and it
Nice.
unfolds like a veil, and you see a plain-faced elven girl, and it just like unfolds into this plain elven gown. So there's now an elven girl in front of you. Same voice, though.
Okay,
I have to be careful around here.
I see. You
Walykos,
picked an interesting
long.
time. Yes, it has been years since I saw you. I didn't know if I'd ever see you again, to be honest.
I am always around. There is much that I must tend to. How are you doing? He, or in the form of she, kind of like looks at your legs, and this doesn't look good.
It's been getting worse. At first I thought I could manage it. I used some grove sheen and other medicine and herbs to manage the pain. And it wasn't too bad. And there were certain almost gifts, you might even call that seemed to enable me to do. But most recently, it's been getting much, much worse. And for the fits that I have almost seem to be getting more frequent. Like it could be years between them before. Now it seems it could be months, it could be days. I can't predict anymore.
The curse is catching up with you. There is only so much that you could do to hold it at bay. Have you sought a healer, a priest, a shaman, a wizard?
I didn't seek any out. I thought that I could manage this myself. I didn't want to let my condition be known for fear that it could potentially bring trouble to the house that I've been with. If they knew, if Bale knew that I was still alive, he might come for them. And my condition is rather
I
unique.
might be able to lend
Yeah.
aid, though I cannot guarantee how effective it will be, for the curse he laid upon you is greater than the magic that I have yet developed, though I have developed much in the intervening years.
Whatever you can offer me, I would take. Tell me what I need to do.
Let's keep walking. Let's keep walking. And
Yep.
he wants to make it look like you're just people amongst the crowd. So you're kind of lost in the crowd talking.
Yep.
We will soon find the right place. Somewhere it's a little bit more quiet than this.
Well, you picked a hell of a time with all the chaos going on. I doubt much.
Well, that is
noted.
exactly why I picked this
Yeah.
time. I wish I could have gotten to you sooner. What do you make of all this?
Well, I know that there is more at work here. I don't know the specifics of it, but this is all being done to cause a civil war, to cause the elves to tear at themselves and kill each other, and blood in the streets to run like a river down to the sea, so that the giants that once bled here their blood will be joined by the elven blood.
So you see it too. That is very similar to what I am sensing. Heed my words, dear Wally Coast. Barnacle cannot fall into chaos. I'm not sure how yet, but we cannot let this city tear itself apart from within.
Do you know the identity of the Night Stalker?
I have suspicions there are a few, the apprentices that he took up after you refused to go to a place that you would not go. It is too soon to say, but you speak of Baal, yes?
Yes.
Baal Vantus yet plots from his lair, and the Night Stalker is his far-reaching weapon. The war that won Aygir never ended. It merely shifted into a protracted and clandestine phase. Giants live long, long lives.
Would there be anything that might be of help? Apparently, some of my companions have found a workshop, a fire giant's workshop, nearby. I don't know if it is related to Baal Vondor, but
A
perhaps
fire giant's workshop here in Barnacle.
it's beneath Barnacle, but yes, in the district was
The Crumble.
the Crumble.
Well, there are potentially many undiscovered things beneath the Crumble. Much of those ruins have been explored, but who's to say how far down the giant's tunnels went? I don't have any knowledge that there's a connection between this fire giant workshop or this Crumble dungeons and Baal Vantus.
Would that I knew where
I
his
do
lair
know
was.
that if the people of Barnacle break down into fighting and killing one another, or even to a civil war, then Baal will be one step away from winning. The giants could yet still win the war.
I don't know where his lair is. Its location, my mind was never made clear on that. He took precautions, I think, to make sure that I didn't know where he kept us. Only where we escaped
just
from.
southeast of the Orklands.
Yes, but I know its vague location. I don't know its specific, is what I mean. I wouldn't be able to find my way there after this many years.
I could show you the way. Do you think that your allies and perhaps I and some others that I could gather up, we would have sufficient force to strike at Bale? Have you learned much and great things?
My allies have some abilities, yes. I think that perhaps together we might be able to. And if we were to go there, perhaps we could learn the identity of the Night Stalker in certain.
We will speak of this more. It is much to consider. First, we must find a place where I might attempt to dispel the curse that is upon you.
That is of great importance. I would much appreciate.
Well, before you go thanking me profusely, we should see what exactly I am able to do. I can cast a remove curse spell upon you, but there is no guarantee that I will succeed in it. And even if it does succeed, I cannot guarantee that it would reverse
What has been done.
Effects.
Yes. Each effect, it feels like they're crabs tearing their way through me, my body, and reaching up into me.
If it is allowed to unfold to its furthest extent, you will be reduced to a bestial thing. Your mind will be gone.
We need to prevent that at all costs. So do what you will. I will help you whatever I can.
Where is it that you're staying?
The Mantevale district in Tower, Storm Tower. Yes.
Storm Tower District.
Yeah, Storm Tower District, Mantevale.
Yeah, the Storm Tower District, many of these tower places predominantly is just the tower. I mean, it's a huge, giant tower, but there'll be other nearby adjoining structures that got converted into like manors and smaller towers. So Storm Tower District is like a mini district. It's not a huge neighborhood.
That's all I was saying. I was saying Storm Tower District, and then specifically...
Sure. But for the sake of description and world building and everyone. Okay. And the Mantevales have been treating you well?
They treat me as though I was one of their retainers. And my friend Adriel, he treats me as though I was his brother.
Well, we will take what kindnesses we can find, few that they are in this dark world.
Adriel knows about my condition. He's the one who's helped me these many years, and I've mentioned you to him in passing.
Then I will have to give him a debt of gratitude when I do meet him. Though I have misgivings of us meeting on noble grounds. Is there a neutral place that we could go to?
We could go to the Broken Tower of Spindle, or we could go to
noble ground as well. Canis, though reclusive, is technically sworn to Drakestone.
Then the Crumble. We could go to the Crumble. That's the only place where I could think.
Very well. It shall be done. Yeah. And for the sake of time, we'll understand that you arrange when and where you'll be meeting with him, because I know we're about to run out of time here.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll direct him to the outside the place where we're going to be, not actually inside, and we'll figure out whether we invite him or not. We'll figure it out next time.
So I'm trying to think of the best way to end this session. Should we end it with Lami Lamstock?
What about Adriel finishing his little scouting? Did he,
You're gonna finish it with Adriel checking as to what happened to the Duke?
Yeah, to the Duke.
I don't know how long that will take, but if it doesn't take too long,
we'll do it quick.
The stuff with Lami Lamstock, since that's the final resolution of the last angle of how we
the coastal cave adventure.
That might take a little longer. Might be a good start to next session.
Lami is a long-winded fellow, so why don't we start next session with the post debriefing with Lami. So Adriel, you go back through the crowd, back around the amphitheater, and out along the skirts, skirting along it, and you see House Drakestone and all of them and their guards in the retreat. The mob follows to a degree, so much as that they're not getting like crossbow bolts or guards shooting at them. It seems that as long as they stay back, the Drakestone soldiers don't proactively fire or attack them. You do see along the way as you're walking, you do see one, apparently is a dead person on the ground, because you see someone, a man hunched over. There's a lot of blood. There's a couple people over him that are, in hysterics. You don't know if they're trying to help him not die or if he's dead and they're losing their mind. So, however that happened, there's like 2 dead commoners now. The first being the guy that hit the Duke with the dart, and you follow. Eventually, you're going to get to a point where you probably want to like break away from the mob portion, right?
Yeah.
To kind of like, I shouldn't force you to do that, but if you want, you can, distinguish yourself away from the mob and present yourself as a noble to the Drakestone company that's in their swift departure.
So is my house like an ally of Drakestone?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and they're loading into carriages that are drawn by Xenas, and Nike riders.
That'll work. Yeah, because I was debating whether I wanted to like actually like talk to them or if I wanted to follow them. But if my house is already an ally, yeah.
Everyone of the nobles pretty much is sworn to Drakestone.
Yeah,
now,
I'll
service or not, that's who knows.
Yeah, so I'll sort of get myself away from the mob, and I'll try to approach them sort of with my hands. I'm going to say, Lord Drakestone, it's... Oh, man, I keep forgetting my name.
Mantevale.
It's just like, Lord Drakestone, it's Mantevale. No, Lord Drakestone,
Okay.
it's
So you distinguish yourself from the mob and begin presenting thus and heading towards them. And some of the revolters and rioters, they start pointing at you and shouting, "He's one of them! He's with Drakestone! Fucking get him!" And they throw stuff at. They throw rocks. Yeah. They throw like Xena dung. Some people even start running in your direction, and they have like sticks and rocks.
I will like when I start seeing them come forward, I'm gonna like pull out my short sword and my dagger.
Kill.
Sorry, what?
Cast Cloud Kill.
No, I'll pull out my short sword and my dagger. So like dagger in my left hand, short sword in this hand, and just like look at them. And I'm going to try and intimidate and say, if you take one more step forward, I'll stab you so hard you'll fall on the ground bleeding like the last one. I really don't care. And then I'm going to look to Drake, so I'm going to be like, I'm here to help.
All right. Give me a roll. Intimidate.
Make that intimidate check.
I'm good at this. Please. That's not that good. It's only a 12.
Okay. So, to whatever degree that has some effect, right? Because they're not like warrior people. So they're untrained, angry, riotous commoners. So they're not really the frontmost ones that were kind of running at you. They stop, but people still throw some stuff at you. So here's 3 ranged attacks coming at you.
Okay.
They are three as follows: a clod of Xena dung, so shit, a rock, and like a big like fist-sized rock, and an actual sling attack, like a sling weapon attack. All right. Here they come, your pleasantries. All right, so 12 to hit. You avoid getting struck by a clod of dung. The stone is a 7 to hit. It sails over you, and the actual sling attack is even worse. So you dodge these things, and you get away from the crowd, right? And you're going towards the nobles. And
I'll like pull my mask off so that they can like see that I am who I say I am.
All right, so I'll paraphrase here because I've yelled enough tonight, but they don't quite pay a lot of attention to you at first. It seems they understand you're not one of the rioters, and you are obviously some kind of trained, well-to-do person. But then when they see you're getting close enough, they kind of shout back and forth, like, "What are you doing? Get out of the way!" And they're trying to get everyone into these carriages, and it's a bit of a mess. And you're trying to say, like, I'm essentially
saying, like,
I'm Mantevale, and make a persuasion check, as you've got like soldiers and nobles that are kind of chaotically trying to get themselves safe and out of here.
Oh, that's much better. That's a 19.
Okay, so here's what's happening: is they're getting the nobles, and some of them are old, like elderly people, right? So they don't move so well.
And I'm trying to get myself in a position where like I can get into the carriage with Drakestone, if possible.
Okay.
Like, I'm trying to maneuver.
Yeah, that's fine enough. You go and you start lending hands, and they treat you as a guardsman, essentially, or maybe a guardsman that was out doing a patrol. And so you can talk to some of the nobles, you can talk to some of the guardsmen, and you said you want to get into one of the carriages?
Yeah, if I can with Lord Drakestone, if possible.
Okay, what was your persuasion check? Was
19.
Not enough to get you in, but you get in like the one right behind the dukes. And so you are in a carriage with, I'm going to pick someone who would be.
I wonder if I get to actually drive the carriage. I actually get a D4 if I drive carriages, surprisingly.
Okay, you're in a carriage with a few people. Most notably, there is Ethel Brackenbluff, Lady of the Gloom Tower. She is a widow, and she's one of the head members. The Gloom Tower. She's the matriarch of that. And you're also in there with her son, one of the knights, Rigby Brackenbluff. And there's some other minor nobles in there too, of House Brackenbluff, and they're talking to each other, and they thank you for holding back that rabble. I had no idea it was going to erupt into such chaos.
Yes, it's quite the scene that happened today. Something about the Night Stalker. It's craziness. The commoners tend to get like that when we do anything to try and help them.
People, they think whatever shit someone puts into their head, you give them a gift and you make them a nice, pretty promise, and you can fill them with any lies or any rubbish that you want. They turn into puppets.
Yes, indeed.
And Ethel's worrying over the Duke. So I know we're out of time, but I'll tell you this: the Duke took a wound. He's not dying, at least not at the moment, but he did get struck with a dart. And some people are saying in this carriage, right? Some are saying it was poisoned. Some are saying it wasn't poisoned. Some are saying that his breastplate stopped the worst of it, and it was poisoned. They could see the poison, but it just spattered against the breastplate, most of it. So there's conflicting reports that you're getting here.
Dart is a really unusual weapon for a mob.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll actually mention. I'll say, yes, it's
like
that's I also caught on to that. I was like, that's not something that usually they would just throw like a rock or something, right? So I'll sort of say, yes, a dart.
He says it's an assassin's tool. Whoever threw that knew exactly what they were doing. They're trained in this art.
Yes,
perhaps
I think
you're in league with the Night Stalker.
I think you're right, or perhaps it was the Night Stalker.
Well, whoever he was, he's gone forever. I saw his guts go on stage.
Well, hopefully we can find out more information about this. Of course, my services are at your disposal.
Thank you very much. It's Adriel, right?
Yes, Adriel, and I'll put my hand out to shake.
Wait, I know you. I've spotted you before. It was many years ago.
Oh, have we?
Fast
yeah. Yes, I've trained very hard to get to where I am. I don't want to be just a defenseless noble. I'd like to be able to defend my own.
So they talk, and they have a typical attitude of, we happen to be the people born into the well-bred families, and we understand really what's going on in the world. We have the education. We know how to lead things. And if people would just calm down and just go about their little lives, society will hold itself together. But as soon as they get these crazy ideas in their head that we're going to restructure the whole of society, and X faction is promising us cash and prizes, then suddenly everyone thinks that they know how to create the wheel.
Yeah, Adriel is sort of
it all comes into chaos.
Yeah, not necessarily that he personally agrees with it, but he's basically like saying yes, this is all correct. Like, commoner.
Smile and nod.
Yeah, essentially like agreeing with them. He's trying to like get on good terms with them so that they think he's like with them and all of that. So
Sure. Would you like to make a deception check?
I
You're
would
kind of
yeah.
ingratiating yourself.
Yeah, for sure. 15.
15. Not bad. I'm going to do one opposed roll from Ethel Brackenbluff on some insight. Okay. They say, I never knew that you were so politically minded, but it would seem that maybe the lesser wing of Mantevale is going to start pulling its weight.
Well, yes,
He could use your aid after all, times being what they are.
Yes, of course. I tend to have kept to myself. I didn't want to get too political, and I sort of like just gestured to like say like what is happening. Like, but with what has just happened in the streets, I think it's time that I took a stand, picked some sides.
Yeah, you should get rid of your nickname. We all call you Bird Boy.
I actually like laugh a little bit.
As one of the other nobles, and Rigby the knight, he laughs at that. It's true, we do call you that, but you can make a different name for yourself. Never too late to turn another leaf.
Yes, of course. I've heard this nickname before, but like I said, I think that it's time that I took a side, and I think Drakestone is, at least they have order in this land.
It has held for centuries and centuries. All we are doing here is a mere extension of the traditions of Terra Morgana. And how long has Terra Morgana lasted for?
Yes, of course. If possible, do you think I could get a meeting with Drakestone? I'd like to give him my word of loyalty face to face, if possible.
With the Duke?
Yes. And also, I want to help in any way I can.
And I would be happy to send a messenger. Expect a courier at the Storm Tower. He seems to not quite understand exactly where you are located, but whatever. If it goes to the Storm Tower, the message will get handed down to you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I nod my head. I appreciate that, but for now, I guess we need to get on with it, and hopefully, Lord Drake's
poisoned. The last thing that we need right now is the Duke dying.
Yes, that would be tragic.
I think that's the right point to end things on there. We don't know exactly the state of the Duke, and there's questions and a potential new adventure, or at least dungeon to delve.
Indeed.
And,
or redelve.
Yeah, redelve. That is true. Corgain is back, at least for now. He seems to be someone who wanders around a lot. He's kind of a man of the realm. In a subtle wizardly way. I don't know that Wally Coast quite knows everything about Corgain. Well, he's appeared as an old elf and then an elven woman in that last scene, but you never saw him looking like that before. But I think you did see him do a kind of face change.
He used a hat face change veil. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, probably that's exactly right. When he got you out of the out of the escape, out of the lair of Baal Vontus, he initially appeared as like one of their guardsmen, and then once you escaped, he like face changed and he used this hat to change his ensemble.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of illusion-y kind of effects almost.
He's a wizard.
Perhaps they're illusions. Yeah, he's magical of some degree. Okay, we'll wrap things up there. Great session. I think this really sets things up to go even bigger and better and farther.
I knew that we had to have something to drive the narrative forward, so I figured the sickness was a good narrative seed to start that in motion.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Very good. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.
Yeah.